Chapter 105. The Emperor Star Academy was even more lively than usual. As the end of the year neared, many of the students who were out tempering themselves returned. Under the sunlight, the laughter of the youths caused the entire academy to be filled with vitality. Within the academy, the most popular topic of discussion was naturally the strength of the students who returned, and whether they would be able to obtain outstanding results in the Junlin banquet. There were also many who would occasionally mention the name of Qin Wentian. This name could be said to be the most frequently mentioned name in the Emperor Star Academy this year, even more so than Luo Qianqiu last year. After all, in this year, this new student had accomplished many great things. Many of the returning students were filled with admiration for Qin Wentian. Naturally, there were also those who had been out tempering themselves for a long period of time and had heard of Qin Wentian's story the moment they returned to the academy. Although they were extremely prideful, they couldn't help but feel a tinge of defiance in their hearts. They wanted to spar with this new student to see if he was as legendary as the rumor said. Because of this, whenever Qin Wentian walked around the academy grounds, he would always attract the attention of many people. This was especially so after the incident with the Royal Academy. When he returned to the academy, there were even more gazes focused on him, causing Qin Wentian to smile bitterly in his heart. He had truly experienced the treatment of a celebrity. However, the feeling of being stared at everywhere he went wasn't a good one. Returning to his own courtyard, Qin Wentian discovered that other than Qin Yao, senior sister Luo Huan was there as well. "Senior sister, why are you here?" Qin Wentian smiled as he walked forward. "I'm here to chat with Qin Yao. You caused such a huge commotion outside and are now a celebrity. When are you going to gift me a divine inscription painting?" Luo Huan looked at Qin Wentian with a smile that was not a smile. "If senior sister likes it, I will personally gift it to you the next time I create a divine inscription painting." Qin Wentian laughed. "Don't lie to me." Luo Huan's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light. "Naturally. Not to mention one, even if senior sister wants 5 or 6 paintings, I will still give them to you." Qin Wentian laughed, causing the smile on Luo Huan's face to grow even more radiant. "Looks like I didn't dote on you for nothing. Come over, let senior sister give you a kiss." "Eh." Qin Wentian stared at Luo Huan's smiling face as his eyes flickered. He bitterly smiled, "Senior sister, stop tempting me." Luo Huan's charm was exceedingly great. Qin Wentian had seen many beauties before, but only Mo Qingqing and Luo Huan were able to cause his heart to flutter. However, they were two different kinds of beauty. Mo Qingqing was a peerless beauty of the mortal world. It was extremely hard for him to maintain his calmness upon seeing her. Not only that, his senior apprentice sister Luo Huan was simply too sexy. Seeing Qin Wentian's expression, Luo Huan couldn't help but laugh. Qin Yao also added, "Sister Luo Huan, don't tease this little brat anymore. Come to think of it, this little brat is already 17 years old. I wonder if there's any girl he likes. I'm curious as well." Luo Huan stared at Qin Wentian. "Sister, my mind is only focused on cultivation and rescuing my father. Where would I have the time to think about such matters?" Qin Wentian couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. "Not answering? Seems like there is. Let me guess." Luo Huan's beautiful eyes flickered as she continued, "Is it the #1 beauty of Chu, Mo Qingqing? I heard that during Chu Tianjiao's banquet, she intentionally invited you over to chat with her." "Senior sister, don't guess like that." Qin Wentian smiled bitterly, as the scenes of him meeting Mo Qingqing flashed through his mind. "What's there to be embarrassed about?" Luo Huan continued smiling, "That dainty little lass is indeed beautiful. Her title as the #1 beauty of Chu is definitely not just in name. At the very least, I've never seen such a beautiful lass in the royal capital. Not only that, her talent is extremely outstanding. In the royal capital, many of the 10 prodigies of the royal capital covet her." Luo Huan stared at Qin Wentian, as though her interest was piqued. She continued, "No matter how I look at it, I feel that only that lass is worthy of my junior brother. Do you want Teacher Mustang to be the matchmaker? That lass's grandfather is your grandmaster." How could Qin Wentian resist Luo Huan's provocation? He could only smile bitterly. "If you don't say anything, it means that you've admitted it. A young genius and the #1 beauty of Chu. Not bad, not bad." Luo Huan murmured to herself. Qin Yao, who was at the side, couldn't help but laugh when she saw the embarrassed look on Qin Wentian's face. She was thinking in her heart, if Qin Wentian could marry the #1 beauty of Chu, that would naturally be the best outcome. "Okay, I won't tease you anymore. But what I said was the truth. If you want to pursue that little lass, senior sister will definitely support you." Luo Huan laughed. "Today, there's a gathering at the Emperor Star Monument. I'm going there now. Wentian, why don't you come with me and take a look at the outstanding students of our Emperor Star Academy?" "What gathering?" Qin Wentian curiously asked. "It's almost the end of the year, and many students have already returned to the Emperor Star Academy. They like to gather together to boast, exchange their experiences, or exchange pointers, displaying their accomplishments in the past year. Although there are many who do it for the sake of vanity, there are also some who are truly sincere in their exchange and can learn something from each other." Luo Huan explained to Qin Wentian, "The strength of those who attend the gathering won't be weak. At the very least, they would be at the 7th level of arterial circulation. If not, they wouldn't be able to sit under the Emperor Star Monument. But if you go, you definitely have the qualifications. The #1 student of the Emperor Star Academy, a 17-year-old grandmaster who can create a 3rd-level divine inscription. The Emperor Star Academy has never had such a genius before. Senior sister, don't boast about me." Qin Wentian bitterly smiled. "I'll go with senior sister. After all, I don't spend much time in the Emperor Star Academy. I might as well take this opportunity to get to know some of the outstanding students of our academy." "I'll go with you as well." Qin Yao laughed. "Okay, let's go together." Luo Huan pulled Qin Yao along, and the two of them walked shoulder to shoulder. Upon seeing this scene, Qin Wentian felt a trace of warmth in his heart. Although senior sister Luo Huan loved to joke around, and her words were always irrelevant, she had truly taken care of him and Qin Yao. Not only that, if one didn't pay close attention to it, they wouldn't be able to feel it. Which student of the Emperor Star Academy didn't work hard in their cultivation? Who would waste so much time on outsiders? Senior sister Luo Huan didn't have much of a relationship with Qin Yao, but she would frequently visit Qin Yao and befriend her because she was afraid that Qin Yao would be lonely. Qin Wentian silently engraved this gratitude in his heart. If he were to say it out loud, based on senior sister Luo Huan's personality, she wouldn't even be bothered with him. Within the Emperor Star Academy, there were 9 stone monuments named the Emperor Star Monument. There were many words engraved on them, recording the 3,000 years of history of the Emperor Star Academy. In front of the Emperor Star Monument, there was a circular plaza with stone platforms on it. At this moment, several youthful silhouettes could be seen seated on the stone platforms. Every year, there would be many outstanding students of the Emperor Star Academy sitting on these stone platforms, gazing at the Emperor Star Monument, admiring the glory of their predecessors. At the same time, they were also determined to write down the history of the Emperor Star Academy. Below the stone steps of the plaza, there were even more silhouettes. Their gazes were fixated on the stone platforms, as traces of respect could be seen in their eyes. At this moment, those who were seated on the stone platforms were all outstanding students of the Emperor Star Academy. The cultivation bases of the senior brothers up there should be at least at the 7th level of arterial circulation. I wonder when I'll be able to break through to the 3rd level of arterial circulation. Not only at the 7th level of arterial circulation, all of them have their own achievements. If not, they wouldn't even be able to sit on the stone platforms together with the others. That's right, our Emperor Star Academy has so many years of history. Every year, there would be fresh blood coming in, and there are many geniuses in the academy. Just based on the third level of arterial circulation, there are already many senior brothers at the same level. If they don't have any special abilities, they wouldn't even have the qualifications to compete with the others. Below, many gazed at the silhouette standing on the stone platforms, discussing which of the students was stronger. They were filled with curiosity towards this. Senior Sister Luo Huan from the Green Cloud Association is here. Senior Sister Luo Huan is as mesmerizing as ever. The beautiful girl beside her is Qin Yao, and that guy is Qin Wentian. He's here as well. The crowd parted to form a path, and on the stone platforms, there were many gazes directed towards Luo Huan and Qin Wentian. One of them smiled as he stated, "Luo Huan, I heard that you've already stepped into the 9th level of arterial circulation. Come up here quickly. Is junior brother Qin beside me? Please come up here and chat with us." Another person laughed. Luo Huan held on to Qin Wentian's hand as the two of them ascended the stairs, and sat down on two adjacent stone platforms. Upon seeing this scene, the eyes of many in the crowd flashed with sharpness. Luo Huan and Qin Wentian appeared to be somewhat intimate, causing some to feel extremely unhappy in their hearts. After all, with Luo Huan's beauty and talent, there were many who pursued her in the Emperor Star Academy. As though he could feel the hostility, Qin Wentian could only smile bitterly in his heart. Senior Sister Luo Huan had caused him so much trouble. At this moment, he could clearly feel the coldness in the gazes of those who were looking at him. However, his countenance remained calm as he surveyed the silhouettes on the stone platforms. There were over 30 people on the stone platforms, and their cultivation bases were all at least at the 3rd level of arterial circulation. This was the foundation of the Emperor Star Academy. In the future, these people would all have the opportunity to break through to Yuanfu. Not only that, there were still many who had yet to arrive. For example, Luo Qianqiu, Orkan, and the others. Just within the Emperor Star Academy, there were already so many people at this level. One could only imagine how magnificent the Junlin banquet would be. Chapter 106. In front of the Emperor Star Monument, the various outstanding students sat on the stone platform, attracting the attention of many students. More and more people gathered here. At this moment, a silhouette in front of the Emperor Star Monument smiled and said, "There's less than a month left until the end of the year. To be able to sit together with my fellow brothers and sisters, admiring the glory of our predecessors, and discussing our cultivation experiences is truly a joyous occasion. Senior Chiu is too polite. To be able to sit together and chat with Senior Chiu is already a fortunate thing." Someone politely replied. "This person's name is Chiu Mo, and he's extremely powerful. For this generation's 10 prodigies, our Emperor Star Academy has 2. This Chiu Mo is one of them, and he's ranked 4th, Luo Huan whispered to Qin Wentian, who was beside her. Qin Wentian seriously glanced at Chiu Mo. This person was around 18 to 19 years of age, and had a scholarly countenance. His facial features were gentle, and he exuded an amiable aura. "Where's the other person?" Qin Wentian curiously asked. "Beside Chiu Mo, his name is Zheng Xiu, and he's ranked 10th among the 10 prodigies. However, you must not underestimate the person ranked 10th. Although the 10 prodigies are all outstanding youths below the age of 20, their cultivation bases are extremely close to each other. Other than those who have stepped into Yuanfu, the combat prowess of the others wouldn't be too far apart." Luo Huan continued, "The 10 prodigies of the royal capital are always the top 3 rankers of the Junlin banquet. Naturally, after the Junlin banquet, the rankings of the 10 prodigies will be rearranged. Luo Cheng, I haven't seen you in the Azura Alliance for the past year. I'm sure that your combat prowess must have improved tremendously. Do you have any insights that you'd like to share?" Chiu Mo was ranked 4th among the 10 prodigies, and was regarded as the host of this gathering. He took the initiative to speak to a seemingly mature youth. Although Luo Cheng wasn't that old, he seemed to be in his 20s, and was much more mature compared to his peers. Not only that, there was a hint of wildness in his eyes. The members of the Azura Alliance were all madmen. They were extremely cruel to themselves, and would often train in the dark forest for a year or even a few years at a time. Not only that, their combat prowess was also extremely outstanding. Is there anyone willing to give it a try? Luo Qing calmly asked, causing the gazes of the crowd to freeze. Last year, Luo Qing already had the strength of a cultivator at the 6th level of arterial circulation. It was said that he had already broken through to the 8th level of arterial circulation. Why don't I try? After that, Mountain walked to the center of the public square and stared at Luo Cheng. I'm here to see how much your strength has improved. Mountain, be careful, Luo Huan called out. Mountain grinned as he nodded his head to Qin Wentian. Senior Mountain, what's your current cultivation level? Qin Wentian asked Luo Huan. Peak of the 8th level of arterial circulation, Luo Huan replied. Luo Cheng stood up from the stone platform and walked to the opposite side of the mountain. A large astral blade appeared in his hand, exuding a cold intent. Boom! Luo Cheng stepped out like a demonic beast. His body sank as he slashed out with his saber. A resplendent saber light appeared in the air, resplendent and cold. Big Mountain roared. The mountain rocks roared as he punched out with his fist. It was as tough as steel and it flew towards the saber. However, Luo Cheng's saber changed direction, slashing towards Mountain's throat with the speed of lightning. Even though the sun shone down from the sky, the spectators could still feel the chill of the saber. The edge of the saber was too cold. What a strange saber. Senior Mountain will be at a disadvantage in this battle. Qin Wentian muttered in a low voice. Indeed, after a few clashes, Mountain was starting to feel strained. His attack power wasn't any weaker than his opponent's, and his defense was higher as well. However, Luo Cheng's saber technique was extremely strange. It was a saber technique that was used to kill. It was impossible to tell what kind of innate technique it was. Chi. Another cold light flashed by. The movements of the two of them halted. Luo Cheng's saber had already disappeared, while Mountain stood there in a daze. I've lost. A few strands of hair drifted down from Mountain's head. Mountain only felt a chill in his head. Earlier, if Luo Cheng's saber was just a little bit off, he would have already lost his life. His attacks follow the rules, and his innate techniques don't contain any of his own variations. How can he not be defeated? Luo Cheng calmly spoke as he walked back to the stone platform, calmly sitting down. Many thanks. Mountain recovered very quickly. He smiled at Luo Cheng and returned to his seat, as though he didn't care about his earlier defeat. At this moment, Qin Wentian understood the meaning of this gathering in the Emperor Star Academy. It was a competition between geniuses, learning the strengths of others, and understanding one's own weaknesses. Such a class was even more direct and impactful compared to a teacher's class. Indeed, innate techniques are all created by predecessors. Why can't he infuse his own insights into them? Luo Cheng's saber technique was obviously infused with his own insights, tempered by life and death situations, causing the killing power to be even stronger. Qin Wentian silently mused. He once again thought of the divine inscription diagram he had. That divine inscription diagram was an ideal form of attack that he wanted to achieve. However, he had no way to truly comprehend it. After which, there were a few more people sparring, and each of them had their own unique characteristics. A young student unleashed the power of his arterial circulation to the extreme. Every part of his body seemed to be able to attack, causing Qin Wentian to deeply feel that there was something worth learning from each and every one of them. The students below the stone platform listened to the discussions of their senior brothers and sisters. They were all extremely quiet as they earnestly studied. To them, this was also a rare opportunity. At this moment, on the stone platform, Chiu Mo's gaze landed on Qin Wentian as he smiled. Junior brother Qin's talent is outstanding. Being able to create a third-level divine inscription at such a young age, causing your name to shake the entire Chu Empire. Do you have any insights that you would like to share with your senior brothers and sisters? Qin Wentian was a new student of the Emperor Star Academy. Not only that, he was the only new student standing on the stone platform. Hence, the people here were naturally his senior brothers and sisters. My cultivation base is too shallow, and I don't dare to discuss my experiences in front of my senior brothers and sisters. Seriously listening and learning is what Qin Wentian should be doing. Qin Wentian humbly replied. He wasn't being polite. Although his talent was outstanding, and his cultivation speed was extraordinary, he felt that there were still many things that he needed to learn. Junior brother is too humble. Stepping into the 6th level of arterial circulation from the body refinement realm within a year is an extremely rare feat. What's even more admirable is that you have such a high level of comprehension towards divine inscriptions. As we all know, a weaponsmith would need to spend a large amount of time and effort in researching divine inscriptions. Since junior brother is able to cultivate both, how can you not have any good points? Chiu Mo continued with a smile on his face, exuding an air of elegance. If I really want to find out the reason, it might be because my first astral soul was a forging-type astral soul, which gave me an advantage in terms of comprehension towards divine inscriptions. In addition to that, my luck was slightly better. Qin Wentian calmly replied. So that's the case. However, I still have to advise junior brother. Cultivation isn't easy, and this world is ultimately a world of martial arts. Strength is the only thing that will never change. Although divine inscriptions are also important, there's no need to waste too much time on cultivation. If not, if you sink too deeply into it, you won't be able to wholeheartedly focus on the path of cultivation. Chiu Mo slowly continued, after all, on Wuxia's path, countless geniuses have fallen. Even for those who had outstanding talent when they were young, they would often encounter bottlenecks when they were about to break through to the next level, and would never be able to break through in their entire lives. There were also those who had cultivated extremely quickly, but because their hearts weren't resolute enough, they gradually became mediocre. There are many such examples. Chiu Mo's tone sounded as though he was lecturing his junior brother, yet the spectators could faintly feel that something was wrong. Qin Wentian had displayed outstanding talent, and Chiu Mo should be congratulating him instead. Even if he wanted to remind Qin Wentian, it was fine if he didn't go overboard. Why did he have to say so much? Not only that, it was as though he was implying that Qin Wentian would become a fallen genius. In this case, intentionally or unintentionally, Chiu Mo had already targeted Qin Wentian. However, it wasn't very obvious. Qin Wentian wasn't a mediocre person, he naturally could feel that Chiu Mo had spoken too much to him. However, he didn't understand why Chiu Mo would target him. After all, he wasn't that familiar with Chiu Mo, and there shouldn't be any grudges between them. However, there was no need for him to lose his temper in front of so many people. He casually smiled as he replied, "Senior brother is right. It would naturally be for the best if you could listen to my advice." Chiu Mo nodded his head to Qin Wentian as he continued, creating a third-rank divine inscription at the age of 17, there has never been such a case in the history of Chu. I'm sure you must have had some fortuitous encounters, and have already created several types of third-rank divine inscriptions, which others don't have. But on the path of cultivation, fortuitous encounters and luck are secondary. You still have to depend on yourself. If one were to say that Chiu Mo's earlier words were a little unclear, then the latter part of his words were extremely obvious. That seemingly courteous words, if one were to put it lightly, were to say that he was doubting Qin Wentian. He first said that there had never been a 17-year-old in the history of Chu who created a third-rank divine inscription, and after that, he said that Qin Wentian must have had some fortuitous encounters, and that he had many third-rank divine inscriptions that others didn't have. This was undoubtedly hinting that the divine inscription Qin Wentian created wasn't something Qin Wentian created himself, but something he already had. If one were to take this sentence seriously, it wouldn't just be doubting Qin Wentian. It could even be said that he was extremely vicious. A third-rank divine inscription that had never appeared in the history of Chu, in addition to the fact that he was able to inscribe it at such a young age, how great was his fortuitous encounter? Exactly how many types of divine inscriptions did Qin Wentian have? It was still fine if he was in the academy, but if he was outside the academy, how many people would covet his treasures and act against him? Qin Wentian furrowed his brows. Luo Huan, who was beside him, also had an expression of extreme displeasure on her face. The hidden meaning behind Qiu Mo's words was too vicious. Chapter 107. Qin Wentian sat cross-legged on the stone platform as the gazes of the crowd landed on him. Qiu Mo's words seemed to have reminded them that the legendary painting scroll, was it really created by Qin Wentian himself? Being able to inscribe a third-rank divine inscription at the age of 17, he must have had some sort of miraculous encounter. Qin Wentian, there's a secret. A thought appeared in the hearts of many as they seriously scrutinized Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian could clearly feel the gazes of the crowd. At this moment, his heart was filled with rage. He was extremely angry, and he naturally had a reason to be angry. Today, was the first time he met Qiu Mo. If Qiu Mo had doubted his cultivation, it was one thing. But to actually target him so viciously, what kind of thoughts were hidden beneath that gentle smile on his face? Staring at the calm eyes of Qiu Mo, Qin Wentian suppressed the emotions in his heart as he replied, "Senior's words, Qin Wentian doesn't dare to agree." Oh. Qiu Mo had a strange expression on his face as he laughed. He stared at Qin Wentian. Could it be that junior brother Qin only wants to rely on miraculous encounters and not your own hard work to raise your strength? Miraculous encounters are luck, and luck is something that comes naturally. I naturally wouldn't intentionally think about such illusory things. However, isn't luck also a type of strength? Qin Wentian stared at Qiu Mo as he continued, "Right now, if there's a fourth-ranked divine weapon or a heaven-ranked innate technique placed in front of senior brother, do you want it or not?" "Naturally." Qiu Mo replied. "Senior brother, why don't you think of relying on yourself? Why don't you rely on miraculous encounters and directly give up on them?" Qin Wentian stared at Qiu Mo as he continued asking. Qiu Mo stared at Qin Wentian as a look of disdain flashed in his eyes. "This is sophistry, ridiculous." "Sophistry?" Qin Wentian calmly replied, "The path of cultivation is extremely treacherous. For experts who stand at the peak, which of them wouldn't experience countless life and death situations? Without some luck, how would they be able to turn calamity into safety? How would they be able to obtain better cultivation arts and stronger innate techniques? For any character that can transcend the heavens, other than their own talent and hard work, they would definitely have good luck as well. Senior, do you agree?" "I agree. That's why I said that fortuitous encounters are secondary. What's more important is yourself. Junior brother Qin, why are you in such a hurry to explain?" Qiu Mo laughed. The third prince of Chu, Chu Tianjiao, had a fortuitous encounter the moment he was born. Because he was born in the royal clan of Chu, such a fortuitous encounter allowed him to have sufficient cultivation resources to support his cultivation. Hence, the people of Chu referred to him as the heavens chosen of his generation, and were filled with reverence and respect. "Senior, do you dare to stand in front of Chu Tianjiao and say, because you were born in the royal clan, you have to remember that in order to cultivate, you have to depend on yourself?" Qin Wentian wasn't happy or angry, as he calmly spoke. The atmosphere on the stone platform suddenly turned strange. Qiu Mo was intentionally targeting Qin Wentian, the crowd could naturally tell. After all, he was a senior brother, and was ranked number 4 among the 10 prodigies of Chu. Even if he was intentionally targeting Qin Wentian, there wasn't much fault to be found in his words. However, at this moment, Qin Wentian actually used Chu Tianjiao to refute Qiu Mo. Ridiculous, what qualifications do you have to be mentioned in the same breath as the third prince? A cold voice drifted over. Qin Wentian shifted his gaze onto the person who spoke. It was none other than Jiang Xiu, who stood beside Qiu Mo. Jiang Xiu was also one of the 10 prodigies of Chu, but he was ranked at the bottom of the 10 prodigies. For those ranked above him, he naturally had a sense of respect, not to mention Chu Tianjiao, who was ranked number 2. Qin Wentian had used Chu Tianjiao as an example, as though he was placing Chu Tianjiao in the same breath as himself. Naturally, he was unhappy. Today, Qin Wentian came here to listen to the exchange of views between his senior brothers, yet he didn't expect that there would be someone intentionally targeting him. He was originally a hot-blooded youth, but after being repeatedly provoked, the blood in his chest started to boil. Involuntarily, he coldly snorted, "Why can't I be mentioned in the same breath?" The third prince, Chu Tianjiao, has already stepped into Yuanfu over a year ago. And what's your current cultivation level? Jiang Xiu stared at Qin Wentian, as a cold intent flickered in his eyes. I've only been in the Emperor Star Academy for a year, and I've already stepped into the 6th level of arterial circulation from the body refinement realm. I even defeated a senior student, Yanaro. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that my combat prowess is comparable to a cultivator at the 7th level of arterial circulation. I can inscribe 3rd level divine inscriptions. How many youths in Chu below the age of 20 can do that? Why can't I be compared to Chu Tianjiao? Now that I'm inferior to him, could it be that I'm destined to be inferior to him forever? The arrogance in Qin Wentian's heart was ignited. Staring at Jiang Xiu, he retorted, according to your logic, those who are weak wouldn't dare to compare themselves to those stronger than them. Could it be that they only dare to compare themselves to those weaker than them? How ridiculous. You don't even have the confidence to chase after the strong, not to mention surpassing your predecessors. Seems like there's a reason why you're ranked at the bottom of the 10 prodigies. Impudent. Jiang Xiu was provoked by Qin Wentian's words, and he couldn't help but berate him, as a cold light flickered in his eyes. Qin Wentian's words were impolite, and he didn't have the self-restraint of Qiu Mo. He, Jiang Xiu, was one of the 10 prodigies of the royal capital. Whenever he walked in the academy, he would always be looked up to by others. But at this moment, in front of so many students, he was actually insulted by a freshman. Naturally, he would feel embarrassed, and his face would lose all face. What impudent! As a cultivator, shouldn't we have the confidence and will to become stronger? Everyone here is an outstanding student of the Emperor Star Academy. Who would be willing to be inferior to others? Today, senior brother Qiu Mo used such words to teach me. The reason is very simple. It's because he is stronger than me. Qin Wentian slowly spoke, causing the hearts of the spectators to agree. Qin Wentian's words had hit the nail on the head. The reason why Qiu Mo said such words to Qin Wentian was because Qiu Mo was stronger than him. Qiu Mo was ranked number 4 among the 10 prodigies, while Qin Wentian was only at the 6th level of arterial circulation. Just like what Qin Wentian had said, if it was Chu Tianjiao, Qiu Mo wouldn't have said such words. Because, Chu Tianjiao was stronger than Qiu Mo. Of course, if Qiu Mo only wanted to teach, Qin Wentian wouldn't be so angry. But Qiu Mo had ulterior motives, and was intentionally targeting Qin Wentian. The atmosphere grew increasingly strange. Qiu Mo's countenance flickered, he didn't expect Qin Wentian's words to be so sharp. Finally, it was still Qiu Mo who broke the silence. Qiu Mo had a smile on his face, as an indistinct aura gushed forth from him. His body slowly floated up from the stone platform, as a powerful surge of yuan energy permeated the air. Gradually, the cross-legged Qiu Mo floated up into the air, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble. Yuanfu realm. Senior brother Chiu Mo has stepped into Yuanfu. How powerful. The rankings of the 10 prodigies were updated at the end of last year. Senior brother Chiu Mo was ranked 4th, while Immortal Drunken Wine was ranked 3rd. If Immortal Drunken Wine hadn't broken through to Yuanfu, senior brother Chiu Mo would have replaced his position. For a moment, the crowd was in an uproar. Evidently, many people were shocked. Advancing from the arterial circulation realm to Yuanfu was an extremely difficult feat. Many geniuses had to spend a long period of time before they could break through. There were also many geniuses who displayed outstanding talent at the arterial circulation realm, only to become mediocre after they broke through to Yuanfu. The difference between each realm was like the difference between heaven and earth. From a certain perspective, Chiu Mo's lesson to Qin Wentian wasn't wrong. Indeed, many geniuses had fallen. Now that Chiu Mo had broken through to Yuanfu, he undoubtedly had the qualifications to guide Qin Wentian. Because, he had already proven himself. He, who was ranked 4th among the 10 prodigies, would only grow stronger after he broke through to Yuanfu. Slowly, he would pull apart the distance between him and those who had yet to break through. Even if Immortal Drunken Wine couldn't break through, the distance between them would still be pulled apart. Naturally, stepping into Yuanfu also meant that Chiu Mo would no longer be able to participate in the Junlin banquet. However, compared to breaking through to Yuanfu, the Junlin banquet wasn't as important. After all, the purpose of the Junlin banquet was to spar against the geniuses. Only the top few would be able to obtain generous rewards. And as for Chiu Mo, if he didn't break through to Yuanfu, even if his cultivation base had already reached the peak of arterial circulation, he wouldn't dare to say that he would be able to obtain one of the top 3 positions in the Junlin banquet. You're right, I have the qualifications to guide you. There's no other reason than because I'm stronger than you. Chiu Mo floated in the air, staring at Qin Wentian. At this moment, his arrogance was unmasked. Junior brother Qin, isn't it a little too impetuous to be angered because of a single sentence? Not only that, what I've said isn't wrong. How many geniuses have fallen in the past? Even in the Emperor Star Academy, there are many who are unable to graduate. Why is that? Because you're unable to break through to Yuanfu. Now that you've encountered a fortuitous encounter, you're able to break through to Yuanfu. However, if you were to delay your breakthrough by 5 to 6 years, you would already be left far behind by others. How would you be able to compete with the other geniuses? Chiu Mo's tone was as though he was lecturing Qin Wentian. After breaking through to Yuanfu, he had already placed himself in a higher position, as though he was lecturing a junior who didn't listen to his advice. If senior brother sincerely guided me, Qin Wentian would naturally listen to your advice. However, from your tone, it's as though you've already determined that I'm merely relying on fortuitous encounters to achieve my current accomplishments. Sooner or later, I'll fall. This sounds more like a curse. Qin Wentian stared at Chiu Mo as he continued, my cultivation time is still short, and I don't dare to say that I've achieved much. But at the very least, I've taken one step at a time, steadfast in my heart. Although I've encountered some fortuitous encounters, my will to cultivate has never wavered. What senior brother said is correct. Since you've broken through to Yuanfu, you naturally have the qualifications to guide me. However, you're only at Yuanfu. Senior brother, you seem to be placing yourself too high. Those who don't know might think that only senior brother Chiu Mo has broken through to Yuanfu. Qin Wentian's calm voice contained a hint of provocation within. He stared at Chiu Mo as he continued, compared to me, you merely started cultivating a few years earlier. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, the surrounding crowd fell into silence. It was as though only his voice could be heard. At this moment, Qin Wentian's words were getting sharper and sharper, as though he was in direct opposition to Chiu Mo. Chapter 108. Chiu Mo, a Yuanfu cultivator, ranked 4th among the 10 prodigies of the royal capital. Qin Wentian, a rising star of the Emperor Star Academy. Within a short span of a year, his name shook the entire Chu country. He was a genius that could inscribe third-level divine inscriptions. Qiu Mo was a senior disciple, and he indeed had the qualifications to guide Qin Wentian. However, his words were clearly directed at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian naturally had to retort. There were many Yuanfu cultivators in the Emperor Star Academy, and this Qiu Mo was humble at the start. But after that, it was as though he was the only Yuanfu cultivator in the entire academy. What junior brother Qin said is correct. Senior Qiu Mo only started cultivating a few years earlier than you, yet he dares to lecture junior brother Qin in such a manner. It's as though you are the only one who could break through to Yuanfu. If I didn't remember wrongly, let alone when you first entered the Emperor Star Academy, even if it was last year, your achievements were far from being comparable to junior brother Qin's. Luo Huan's voice rang out as she smiled. If Senior Qiu didn't start cultivating a few years earlier, he wouldn't even have the qualifications to criticize junior brother Qin. There's no point in arguing. Since both sides are unhappy, why don't we exchange pointers? Jiang Xiu coldly continued, today is an exchange of pointers. Words won't be as persuasive as practice. You really know how to talk big. Qiu Mo started cultivating a few years earlier than junior brother Qin, and you want them to exchange pointers? Why don't you go and spar with the other Yuanfu cultivators instead? Mountain coldly snorted as he spoke with a hint of anger in his voice. Exchanging pointers doesn't necessarily have to rely on one's own strength. If Senior Qiu sparred with junior brother Qin, he naturally wouldn't be able to suppress his cultivation base. At this moment, a person at the side spoke. Seeing that Qiu Mo had already returned to his seat, he couldn't help but laugh. In our Emperor Star Academy, there's a precedent of not using Yuan energy as a foundation, but only using innate techniques. This is a test of one's comprehension and adaptability, isn't it perfect? Although that's the case, Qiu Mo's cultivation base is at the Yuanfu realm. His mind is extremely clear, and his perception is even more acute. In addition to the fact that his cultivation base is higher than Qin Wentian's, it's only natural that his comprehension of innate techniques would be deeper. The two of them are at different cultivation bases, and their physiques are on different levels. Qiu Mo naturally has the advantage. Luo Huan stared at that person as she continued, even so, Qiu Mo still has the advantage. I haven't broken through to Yuanfu yet. Why don't I represent Senior Qiu Mo to spar with him? Jiang Xiu suddenly said, Qin Wentian is so arrogant, and Luo Huan, you have so much confidence in him. Let me test him, and let everyone see where his capital lies. If he continues to refuse with all sorts of excuses, I will not say anything more. A cold smile appeared in Jiang Xiu's eyes as he directly provoked Chu Feng. Luo Huan frowned and looked at Qin Wentian. After all, Qin Wentian had only been in the Emperor Star Academy for a year. Not only that, he had also cultivated divine inscriptions. His proficiency in innate techniques was much lower than Qin Wentian's. Since they weren't competing in terms of Yuan Qi, and were only competing in terms of innate techniques, the more proficient one was in, the greater the advantage he would have. Qiu Mo didn't continue speaking. Since Jiang Xiu had spoken on his behalf, he was naturally willing to remain silent. The gazes of the crowd landed on Qin Wentian. His countenance was as calm as ever, and no one could tell what he was thinking. At this moment, Qin Wentian was contemplating. He had never offended Qiu Mo or Jiang Xiu before, but why did the two of them seem to have a grudge against him? Today, it seemed as though they wanted to humiliate him, as though they wanted to prove to everyone that he, Qin Wentian, was merely relying on fortuitous encounters to achieve some accomplishments. In reality, his talent was nothing but trash, and he was destined to fall in the future. Since he couldn't figure it out, Qin Wentian didn't think too much about it. The crowd only saw him slowly standing up from the stone platform as he walked towards the center of the circular plaza, facing Jiang Xiu as he calmly stated. "Senior brother, please guide me." Qin Wentian stood in the center of the plaza, staring straight at Jiang Xiu. Actions were far more persuasive than words. Jiang Xiu stared at Qin Wentian as he stood up as well. His silhouette flickered as he soared through the air, directly landing in front of Qin Wentian. "You're welcome." Jiang Xiu's eyes gleamed with sharpness, akin to an unsheathed sword. His words were indeed extremely impolite. "Junior brother's cultivation is still shallow, and my understanding of innate techniques isn't very profound. I only have a superficial understanding of them. I hope senior brother will show mercy." Qin Wentian was as humble as ever, causing the crowd to be puzzled. This wasn't the same him as before. "He, I use my sword as my weapon. You can choose your weapon." Jiang Xiu unsheathed a sword from his back. Although it was a divine weapon, if one didn't infuse their yuan qi into it, it would be no different from an ordinary weapon. Since the two of them had agreed not to spar using yuan qi, it was naturally best to use weapons to determine a victor. If not, if one didn't use their astral energy, they wouldn't be able to unleash palm imprints. How could they even talk about innate techniques? "I use my halberd as my weapon." Qin Wentian retrieved his ancient halberd from his interspatial ring. His hands gripped the hilt of the halberd, the tip of the halberd pointed to the ground, as the two crescent-shaped blades gleamed with a cold light. "Please." Qin Wentian held the ancient halberd tightly in his hands as he stared at Jiang Xiu, his countenance as calm as ever. Jiang Xiu's palms trembled slightly as his sword shimmered with a cold light. He slowly stepped out, walking towards Qin Wentian. Although he didn't use any yuan qi, both of them were at the perfection circle of the body refinement realm, and the strength of their fleshly bodies were naturally tyrannical. Sword shadows flickered as a beam of sword light pierced towards Qin Wentian, exuding a cold intent. Shadow Snow Sword Art. The people on the platform were all extraordinary individuals. They instantly recognized that this was a low-tier, Earth-grade innate technique from the 4th level of the Heavenly Star Pavilion, the Shadow Snow Sword Art. The sword was as cold as snow, the sword light penetrating the shadows. This straight sword strike was akin to a bolt of lightning, aiming straight for Qin Wentian's throat. Qin Wentian retreated 2 steps, as his ancient halberd abruptly pierced out, aiming for the tip of Jiang Xiu's sword, intending to clash head-on with his opponent. How exquisite is the Shadow Snow Sword Art! How can it be captured? The spectators mused silently. After which, the sword technique abruptly changed, resembling snowflakes drifting down gracefully, transforming into an arc as it shot towards the center of Qin Wentian's brows. Jiang Xiu's body also moved along with the sword, exuding an aura of elegance. Even if he doesn't use yuan qi to battle, it can still be so exquisite. This way, the spectators can clearly see senior brother Jiang Xiu's swordplay. The spectators below couldn't help but exclaim in admiration when they saw this scene. What an exquisite swordplay! If Jiang Xiu were to borrow the power of his yuan qi, how powerful would that sword strike be? Qin Wentian continued to retreat, yet the ancient halberd in his hand danced about, transforming into a vortex as the silhouette of a Xuanwu divine turtle appeared. Jiang Xiu's swordplay had no way to break through the defense of the Xuanwu divine turtle. That's the mid-tier Earth-grade Berserk Beast halberd art. It's extremely tyrannical and has extremely high requirements for the cultivator. To think that Qin Wentian would actually choose to cultivate a halberd technique. Senior brother Jiang Xiu changed his stance, it's the Starpoint swordplay. The spectators only saw Jiang Xiu's swordplay changing, the sword light was akin to starlight, unceasingly piercing out, breaking through the defense of the ancient halberd. It was as though as long as the halberd was given the slightest opening, it would be able to strike Qin Wentian. Berserk Beast halberd art, Vermilion Bird stance. Qin Wentian's halberd technique was also changing, executing the Vermilion Bird stance. His halberd technique became extremely nimble and sharp, as though he wanted to use technique to break technique. Clanging sounds rang out unceasingly, and in that short instant, it was unknown how many times the two of them had clashed. Such close combat, it's extremely dangerous. A single mistake and victory would be forfeit. The spectators only saw that the speed of the battle between the two was increasing. Even without the use of yuan energy, the sword shadows were still as domineering as ever. Qin Wenqian's halberd technique wasn't inferior to Qin Wenqian's. Although it wasn't as magnificent as Qin Wenqian's, his defense was as steady as a boulder, and his attacks were like dragons and tigers, extremely tyrannical. Not only that, despite the numerous clashes between the two of them, Qin Wenqian's arms were still as steady as ever, each and every one of his attacks were deadly. Without the use of yuan energy, it would only depend on whose comprehension of the innate techniques was deeper, and who would be able to break the stalemate. From the current situation, Jiang Xiu's swordplay was constantly changing, pressing down on Qin Wenqian with every step. Most of the time, Qin Wenqian was in a defensive stance, and if this continued, Qin Wenqian would definitely lose. However, Qin Wenqian didn't seem to have such an awareness. Although he was in a defensive stance most of the time, he was as steady as Mount Tai, not revealing any openings. Under the constant attacks of his opponent, Qin Wenqian didn't make a single mistake. Seems like Qin Wenqian's reputation isn't undeserved. Although he seems to be in a disadvantageous position, he's actually extremely stable. Although his control over the types of innate techniques is far inferior to his opponents, he's always able to turn danger into safety at the most crucial moment. The spectators on the platform saw more. There were two reasons why Qin Wenqian could be so stable in such a fast-paced battle. Firstly, he was extremely proficient in using the innate techniques that he was familiar with, and would never make a mistake due to panic. Secondly, his awareness was extremely sharp, and he was able to capture all of his opponent's attacks under immense pressure without making any mistakes. Sword Heart's lonely shadow. The spectators only heard a shout. Jiang Xiu's sword technique changed yet again, as his entire person exuded an indomitable aura. His sword was like a lonely shadow, breaking apart everything. Every beam of sword light was as cold as ice. Qin Wenqian retreated unceasingly, causing the spectators to sigh silently. In the end, Qin Wenqian was still going to be defeated. Who would have thought that Jiang Xiu would be able to cultivate the Sword Heart's lonely shadow to such a level? This sword technique moved according to his will, and regardless of speed or exquisiteness, it had already reached the pinnacle of Jiang Xiu's techniques. Qin Wenqian's defense grew more and more chaotic. Defeat. In that instant, Jiang Xiu's entire person was akin to a sharp sword, piercing out with a graceful grace. Azure Dragon Stance. Qin Wenqian roared in rage as he similarly pierced out with his ancient halberd. The simplest stance, the most tyrannical attack. Release. Jiang Xiu's gaze was as sharp as a sword, the sword in his hand moved according to his will. After a total of 9 transformations, the ancient halberd in Qin Wenqian's hands slipped away. But at the same time, Jiang Xiu's sword also deviated slightly. Qin Wenqian is defeated. Upon seeing this scene, the hearts of the spectators silently mused. Jiang Xiu's sword could end the battle in an instant. Jiang Xiu's swordplay was superior in its ingenuity. Although the berserk beast halberd art was tyrannical, there was no energy infused within it, hence it was unable to unleash its full might. However, at this instant, the spectators saw Qin Wenqian advancing instead of retreating. His palms slapped out forcefully, directly imprinting an imprint on the back of the sword. Courting death. Jiang Xiu coldly snorted. The sword in his hand arced through the air in a perfect arc, slashing horizontally towards Qin Wenqian. However, he saw that Qin Wenqian's footwork was incomparably exquisite, moving at the same frequency as his sword. At the same time, Qin Wenqian stretched his hands out, grabbing hold of the ancient halberd that had slipped out of his hands. At this moment, the distance between Jiang Xiu and Qin Wenqian was only a foot apart. Jiang Xiu's left hand slapped out, while Qin Wentian similarly slapped out with his palm. The two colliding bodies instantly pulled apart a certain distance. At the same instant, the vermilion bird stance of the berserk beast halberd art swept out, incomparably sharp. In an instant, the crescent-shaped tip of the ancient halberd landed on Jiang Xiu's neck, while his sword was still a distance away from Qin Wentian. Chapter 109. This sudden reversal caused the gazes of many in the crowd to freeze as expressions of astonishment appeared on their faces. Earlier, Qin Wentian's explosive footwork was extremely exquisite, and he didn't even use any yuan energy. It was purely a movement technique, yet it was as though he could move according to his heart's desire. What was even more shocking was that at the last moment, he had perfectly utilized his footwork into his attack. It was as though he had already calculated everything in his mind, and was certain that Jiang Xiu would be defeated the moment his attack landed. At this moment, Jiang Xiu's countenance was extremely unsightly to behold. Although this battle didn't involve the use of yuan energy, and had nothing to do with a real battle, it was still possible to see the proficiency of the innate techniques used by the two combatants, as well as their talent in perception. Since he was defeated, it meant that he was inferior to Qin Wentian. Not only that, his earlier words weren't polite at all. My cultivation is still shallow, and I don't know many innate techniques. Maybe, I was lucky enough to win by a single move. Qin Wentian stared at Jiang Xiu as he smiled. His voice was as calm as ever, yet this casual tone of his sounded exceptionally piercing to Jiang Xiu's ears. Qin Wentian's cultivation was still shallow, and he didn't know many innate techniques. Yet, he was still able to win against him. In that case, didn't that mean that he, Jiang Xiu, was even weaker? Not only that, when Qin Wentian said that he was lucky, wasn't it also a reply to Qiu Mo and Jiang Xiu? Qiu Mo and Jiang Xiu had always been targeting Qin Wentian, and the meaning behind their words was that Qin Wentian's current achievements were all due to luck and fortuitous encounters. Jiang Xiu lifted his palms and slapped out with an immense force, slapping away the ancient halberd that Qin Wentian had placed on his neck. The immense force of the impact caused Qin Wentian's arms to tremble slightly. Losing in a single move could be due to luck or carelessness. The attainments of the two of you in your innate techniques aren't bad, especially Jiang Xiu, who is proficient in many different types of powerful sword techniques. If it wasn't for the restrictions on combat, and if it was a true battle, there wouldn't have been a need to use so many moves to determine the victor. Jiang Xiu's sword techniques, infused with astral energy, would have long since torn apart junior brother Qin's defense. Qiu Mo seemed to have prepared his words, as he calmly spoke. From a certain perspective, his words weren't without reason. Earlier, Jiang Xiu's sword strikes were all fatal. It was only because he couldn't use his yuan qi that the power of his attacks was limited. If not, even if their cultivation bases were similar, Qin Wentian might not be able to defend against his attacks. However, from another perspective, Jiang Xiu had clearly lost. Yet, Qiu Mo still commented in such a manner. Wasn't it a little unreasonable? At this moment, everyone could see that Qiu Mo was deliberately targeting Qin Wentian. Since we're already exchanging pointers, why don't we just fight it out? Junior brother Qin, what do you think? Qiu Mo smiled at Qin Wentian. Oi! At this moment, a voice drifted out from the crowd below. Qiu Mo's gaze shifted over, only to see a fatty walking up the stairs. However, the fatty didn't continue up the stairs, and was staring at him with his hands on his hips. Senior brother Qiu Mo, if the 10 prodigies of the royal capital were to be ranked again, I feel that senior brother Qin Wentian should be ranked first. Fatty's voice caused the crowd to turn silent, as expressions of interest appeared on the faces of many. Naturally, there were also some who recognized Fatty. He was none other than Qin Wentian's best friend, Fan Lu. Back then, Qin Wentian and Fan Lu had fought on the platform twice. The first time was to kill Orphan, and the second time was to deal with Murong Feng and Du Hao. Naturally, there were many who recognized Fatty. Not only that, Fatty Fan Li's talent was exceedingly high. It was only because he was together with Qin Wentian that his radiance was overshadowed. Some people knew that during this period of time, Fatty Fan Lu would frequently go to the Dream Sky Forest, and his combat prowess had risen rapidly. It was said that Elder Mustang wouldn't personally guide Qin Wentian, but would instead guide Fan Lu. This was because Fatty Fan Lu was simply too lazy. Lazy people needed to be supervised. Why? Luo Huan smiled as she looked at Fan Lu. I heard that senior brother Chiu Mo is ranked 4th among the 10 prodigies of the royal capital. There's no need to talk about the other 3, but if they fought against senior brother Chiu Mo, they might not be able to win. Even if they won, it would be due to luck or fortuitous encounters. Don't take it too seriously. Not only that, their cultivation paths are all based on luck, and only senior brother Chiu Mo's talent is number 1. Not relying on any fortuitous encounters or external factors, he was still able to break through to Yuanfu. Let me ask you, who can compare to him? Fan Lu spoke with assurance, causing the crowd to be dumbfounded. This fellow's words were completely unreasonable, but after thinking about it carefully, the crowd naturally understood the hidden meaning behind Fan Li's words. What kind of logic is this? Chiu Mo furrowed his brows. He could naturally hear the sarcasm in Fan Li's words. Qin Wentian was able to create a 3rd-level divine imprint, but you think that it was because of luck and fortuitous encounters that he obtained it? Qin Wentian only cultivated for a year, yet he was already at the 6th level of arterial circulation and was able to defeat Yanaro. He relied on external factors to achieve his current level of combat prowess. There are too many geniuses that have fallen, and he might not even be able to break through to Yuanfu in the future. Not only that, he agreed to your request to spar with Jiang Xiu, yet you say that it was due to luck and carelessness. Fan Lu laughed as he looked at Chiu Mo. In the Emperor Star Academy, only senior brother Chiu Mo relied on his own efforts to cultivate. For the others, if they didn't rely on fortuitous encounters, they wouldn't even be able to break through to Yuanfu. I really don't understand where senior brother Chiu Mo's logic comes from, and where does his self-confidence come from. After speaking, Fan Lu even bowed in the direction of Chiu Mo. This kind of sarcasm was extremely direct, causing Chiu Mo's countenance to turn extremely unsightly. A win is a win, a loss is a loss. Qin Wentian was able to defeat Jiang Xiu in a battle of innate techniques. How could it be due to luck and fortuitous encounters? It was all because Jiang Xiu's mastery of swordsmanship wasn't high enough. Since he was defeated, he should just accept it humbly. Luo Cheng also couldn't bear to watch. It wasn't that he had the intention to help Qin Wentian, it was just that his personality was like this. Speaking of which, Qin Wentian had some grudges. Luo Cheng and Luo Qianxiu were both members of the Azura Alliance, so he naturally wouldn't intentionally help Qin Wentian. If Jiang Xiu, one of the 10 prodigies, used his cultivation base to suppress Qin Wentian, what meaning would there be if he won? Luo Cheng's words were very direct, but in Jiang Xiu's ears, it was undoubtedly a kind of provocation and mockery. Seems like you've made some progress in your cultivation this year, and now you want to contend for the position of one of the 10 prodigies. If you want, there's no need to wait until the Junlin banquet. I can give you a chance today. Jiang Xiu stared at Luo Cheng, his eyes like sharp swords piercing out, incomparably sharp. Although he was ranked at the bottom of the 10 prodigies, this ranking was made at the end of last year. The current him already had a cultivation base at the 9th level of arterial circulation, and this year, he originally wanted to take another step forward. What's there to be afraid of? Luo Cheng's countenance was as calm as ever as he calmly replied. He didn't place as much importance on victory or defeat as Jiang Xiu did. This year's Junlin banquet was to temper himself, and if he could become one of the top few rankers, it would naturally be for the best. But if he couldn't, it wouldn't be a bad thing if he could increase his strength. Since Jiang Xiu wanted to fight earlier, why not? Fine, but before that, let me first teach junior brother Qin how to be a person. Jiang Xiu shifted his gaze, once again looking at Qin Wentian. At this moment, the sword in his hands emitted a dazzling radiance, sharper and colder than before. Evidently, this time around, Jiang Xiu had infused his astral energy into the sword. Qin Wentian was speechless. Today, it had always been Qiu Mo and Jiang Xiu dealing with him. But now, they actually wanted to teach him how to be a person. To put it bluntly, it was the same words that Qin Wentian had said not long ago. Regardless of Qiu Mo or Jiang Xiu, the reason why they dared to be so overbearing was because their strength was stronger than Qin Wentian. Qi. A cold sword light, as dazzling as the constellations, pierced towards Qin Wentian. In an instant it was as though there were countless specks of sword light shooting out, as resplendent as the astral light. The ancient halberd in Qin Wentian's hands danced in the air. Momentarily, a Xuanwu diagram appeared in front of him, and the sword light unceasingly pierced into it, tearing apart the defense. The sword was graceful, as though there was no technique behind it. As it pierced out, the Xuanwu diagram was torn apart, and the defense of the ancient halberd was broken apart. Jiang Xiu had a cultivation base at the 9th level of arterial circulation, while Qin Wentian was only at the 6th level. The disparity between them was too great, and the astral energy that erupted forth from Jiang Xiu's 9 arterial circulation meridians was incomparably ferocious. Qin Wentian's silhouette was like the wind as he retreated, his footwork incomparably exquisite, 9 heavenly Garuda movement technique. At this moment, the spectators clearly saw Qin Wentian's movement technique, as expressions of astonishment appeared on their faces. Qin Wentian had actually cultivated this extremely difficult movement technique, and had even cultivated it to an extremely exquisite level. His movements were akin to that of a Garuda rock. Jiang Xiu's 2 consecutive sword strikes had failed. How could he let go of his pride? His silhouette flickered as sword light flashed out once again. Sword Heart's lonely shadow. In that instant, his entire person was like a sword, transforming into a shadow as a tempest of swords engulfed the entire stage. Qin Wentian's countenance stiffened, and he pushed his defense and movement technique to their limits. However, his defense was still broken apart by Jiang Xiu's sword technique. A chi-chi sound rang out as a corner of his robes was torn apart by the sword chi. Impudent! Luo Huan coldly snorted. Abruptly, the shadow of a whip flickered as a beam of light descended from the heavens, accompanied by a whistling sound. Jiang Xiu's countenance froze. The sword light abruptly changed as it pierced out in the air, colliding with the long whip. Croak! A crisp sound rang out as the long whip collided with Jiang Xiu's sword. After which, the whip danced in the air like a venomous snake, coiling towards Jiang Xiu. Jiang Xiu furrowed his brows, he didn't expect Luo Huan's strength to be so strong. Seems like this year's worth of cultivation wasn't wasted. A cold light flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes when he saw this scene from the side. Since Jiang Xiu wanted to bully him, he didn't need to care about the rules and morals anymore. Chapter 110. Qin Wentian tightened his grip on the ancient halberd, infusing his astral energy into it as he stared at the battle between Luo Huan and Jiang Xiu. The longer one was, the more dangerous it would be. Luo Huan's whip swept through the clouds, and although Jiang Xiu's swordsmanship was profound, he was still forced into a defensive stance. Upon seeing this scene, Qin Wentian naturally understood that back then when Luo Huan helped him temper his movement technique, she had never used her true whip techniques. At this moment, Luo Huan's whip technique was like a phantom that filled the skies. Every time it landed, a howl of rage could be heard, as though a storm was brewing. Qin Wentian stepped out, his entire person transforming into a shadow. After which, the spectators only saw a silhouette soaring through the air, like a bird of prey, transforming into a beam of light, descending on the space above Jiang Xiu's head. Bzzz, a raging wind gusted as the wings of a Garuda appeared on Qin Wentian's back. At the same time, the ancient halberd was pointed downwards towards Jiang Xiu. With a howl of rage, the might of a gigantic mountain pressed downwards, akin to the roar of an azure dragon. The berserk beast halberd technique instantly descended on Jiang Xiu's head, causing Jiang Xiu's countenance to turn pale white. Despicable. Jiang Xiu slashed out with his sword, wanting to tear apart Qin Wentian's attack. However, the ancient halberd was incomparably tyrannical, as heavy as a mountain, crushing down on his sword. His sword couldn't even move. Pa! A crisp sound rang out. Jiang Xiu's robes were torn apart as fresh blood spurted out. The long whip lashed out at his chest, sending him flying through the air as he landed heavily on the ground, his sword falling to the ground. From the moment Qin Wentian attacked to the moment Jiang Xiu was struck, only a short period of time had passed. The countenances of the spectators froze as strange expressions appeared on their faces. Jiang Xiu, one of the 10 prodigies, was actually beaten up and humiliated in public. This was simply a rumor in the Emperor Star Academy. Impudent! Qiu Mo roared in rage as the aura of a Yuanfu cultivator gushed forth. Luo Huan stood in front of Qin Wentian, blocking his path. Could it be that Senior Qiu Mo wants to bully me and my junior brother just because you're at the Yuanfu realm? At this moment, Jiang Xiu stood up from the ground, his body radiating a violent sword will. His expression was as gloomy as water, extremely ugly to look at. He was one of the capital's 10 prodigies. To him, being beaten up in public was a great humiliation. The gazes of everyone in the Emperor Star Academy were all on him. If he didn't wash away this humiliation, how would he be able to face others in the future? You actually fought 2 against 1, and even ambushed me. Qiu Mo coldly snorted as he took a step forwards. His tyrannical aura gushed forth, pressing down on Luo Huan and Qin Wentian. The pressure was so strong that it was suffocating. The difference between the Yuanfu realm and the arterial circulation realm was an insurmountable gap. Jiang Xiu is one of the 10 prodigies of the royal capital, a genius of the Emperor Star Academy. Junior brother Qin is just a new student. Earlier when Jiang Xiu acted against junior brother Qin, Senior Qiu Mo didn't say anything to stop him, right? Luo Huan's beautiful eyes stared at Qiu Mo as she continued, furthermore, could it be that junior brother Qin's strength is enough to pose a threat to Jiang Xiu? The 10 prodigies of the royal capital shouldn't be so weak, right? There's a gap of 3 levels between him and junior brother Qin. In my opinion, he should be able to ignore junior brother Qin's attack. Luo Huan didn't forget to mock Jiang Xiu, causing Jiang Xiu's countenance to turn increasingly unsightly. That's right, Jiang Xiu was one of the 10 prodigies of the royal capital with a cultivation base at the 9th level of the arterial circulation realm, while Qin Wentian was only at the 6th level. Logically speaking, Qin Wentian shouldn't pose a threat to him at all, unless he admitted that Qin Wentian was stronger than him. Qiu Mo, their battle has nothing to do with you. At this moment, Luo Cheng's voice drifted over. Qiu Mo turned his gaze over as a cold glint of light flickered in the depths of his eyes. Since you've already broken through to Yuanfu, you should go and fight against Yuanfu seniors instead. Why are you trying to act like a hero here? Luo Cheng didn't give any face to Qiu Mo, not only that, this battle was initiated by Jiang Xiu himself. If you're a man, go and settle it yourself. If Jiang Xiu, who is ranked last among the 10 prodigies of the royal capital, needs help from others, then that's the end of the line. At the end of the year, after the Junlin banquet, Jiang Xiu's name will no longer be part of the 10 prodigies of the royal capital. Luo Cheng's voice was calm, as though he was speaking of an extremely ordinary matter, causing the spectators below to sigh. Every year after the Junlin banquet, the rankings of the 10 prodigies would change. Naturally, this year's Junlin banquet was no exception. Luo Cheng bluntly stated that Jiang Xiu, who was ranked number 10, not only would he not be able to improve his ranking, he would be eliminated from the ranks of the 10 prodigies and be surpassed by the younger generations. The two of you, come at me together. Jiang Xiu roared in rage as he released his sword-type astral soul. Sword Qi howled in rage, incomparably tyrannical. His eyes were as sharp as swords, as he stared at Luo Huan and Qin Wentian. At this moment, the flesh on his chest could still be seen, as fresh blood dyed his robes red. At this moment, his rage had already reached the limit. As the sound of his voice faded, he took a step forward. Sword Qi howled in rage as a beam of sword light slashed out, cleaving towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian stabbed out with his ancient halberd as the shadow of the black tortoise appeared. The shadow of the black tortoise shattered as Qin Wentian felt an even sharper aura gushing towards him. You don't know what's good for you. Luo Huan coldly snorted. Her beautiful eyes finally flashed with anger as she released her astral soul as well. At the same time, the long whip in her hands lashed out in a frenzy, as though a storm was raging in the sky. The shadows of the whip flooded the entire space, completely blocking out the sword light. At this moment, the spectators all had expressions of shock on their faces. So it turned out that Luo Huan's strength was already this powerful. Even without Qin Wentian's help, Jiang Xiu might not be able to do anything to her. Indeed, you don't know what's good for you. Can't you tell that Luo Huan's strength is already not inferior to yours? A look of disdain flashed in Luo Cheng's eyes as he saw Jiang Xiu still persisting in his attacks. In the previous 10 prodigies, Jiang Xiu was ranked number 10. From his point of view, it was because the competition last year was too weak. But this year was different, the competition would be even more intense. Luo Huan already had the strength to contend for the top spot. But for himself, he also wanted to fight for it. Not only that, he knew that Luo Qianqiu's combat prowess was stronger than his. Luo Qianqiu, who had already stepped into the 8th level of arterial circulation, was currently in closed-door seclusion. Luo Qing only had a single goal, to obtain the top spot in the June Lin banquet. At the end of the year, there would be no Yuanfu cultivators present. Qin Wentian didn't make another move. He stared at the two of them as he sarcastically stated, not to mention the 10 prodigies, even if the top 15 were to be ranked this year, you, Jiang Xiu, might not even have a spot for you. Jiang Xiu was even more enraged when he heard these words. His swordplay grew even more ferocious, but it was clear that he wouldn't be able to maintain it for long. Luo Huan's long whip danced in an impenetrable manner. That alluring figure danced about, causing many to drool with desire. In their hearts, they were fantasizing about becoming Luo Huan's man. However, they also knew that even though Ruo Huan seemed to be unrestrained, in reality, no man had ever succeeded in wooing her. At this moment, the cry of a crane drifted over from afar. Gazing over, a look of bewilderment could be seen on the faces of the spectators. Who would dare to ride on a demonic beast in the Emperor Star Academy? However, as the cry of the crane drew closer, all of their eyes were fixated on the beautiful figure on top of the crane. Mo Qingqing. Those men were in a daze, as though they had forgotten about the intense battle between Luo Huan and Jiang Xiu. On the white crane in the distance, a beautiful figure dressed in white sat there like a fairy. Her face was perfect, and her expression was peaceful, just like a fairy. Compared to Mo Qingqing, Nolan, who was beside her, seemed to have been forgotten. Actually, it wasn't that Nolan wasn't beautiful, it was just that when she was together with Mo Qingqing, her beauty was completely suppressed. There were many beauties in the Chu country, but all of them would pale in comparison to Mo Qingqing. How beautiful! Qin Yao couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. In her heart, she was thinking of Luo Huan's words. If Wentian could marry Mo Qingqing, wouldn't that be a beautiful marriage as well? The white crane soared through the air, and very quickly, it arrived at the location of the spectators. Mo Qingqing also seems to be paying attention to the battle here. Someone involuntarily adjusted his robes when he saw Mo Qingqing's beautiful eyes looking over. Xiao Mo also turned his gaze towards the beautiful maiden in the air. A gentle smile appeared on his face, exuding a sense of friendliness. Why is she here? An expression of bewilderment appeared on Qin Wentian's face. Every time he saw Mo Qingqing, his heart would palpitate slightly. For people of his age, they were all hot-blooded youths. Facing a beauty like Mo Qingqing who could cause the downfall of empires, it was extremely difficult for them to remain calm. After all, the cultivation of their hearts had yet to reach the state where their hearts were as calm as still water. The white crane swooped down, landing on the public square. The two maidens atop the crane slowly descended, attracting the attention of the crowd. It was as though the spectacular battle between Luo Huan and Jiang Xiu had been forgotten by the crowd. Qingqing, why are you here in the academy? Xiu Mo walked up, smiling at Mo Qingqing. Oi, Xiu Mo, when did Qingqing become so familiar with you? Be more respectful when you address me. Nolan glared at Xiu Mo, causing an expression of embarrassment to appear on Xiu Mo's face. However, an instant later, a gentle smile appeared on his face. Mo Qingqing didn't bother with Xiu Mo, and only casually glanced at him. However, Xiu Mo was already used to it. Not only him, Mo Qingqing didn't even give a smile to a few of the 10 prodigies. However, when he saw Mo Qingqing walking towards Qin Wentian, Xiu Mo's countenance changed, as an undetectable cold light flickered in his eyes. He had long heard that Mo Qingqing had already viewed Qin Wentian in a different light during the banquet. Could it be that the number one beauty of Chu, who had never shown any respect to the 10 prodigies, had a very good relationship with Qin Wentian? As he thought of this, he couldn't help but feel indignant in his heart. This Qin Wentian must have had some dog shit luck. Not only did he obtain so many powerful divine inscriptions, he even caused Mo Qingqing to view him in a different light. Dumbo. Mo Qingqing called out to Qin Wentian, with a light smile on her face. Looking at the expression on Qin Wentian's face, she felt that this fellow was a little Dumbo. Qin Wentian's eyes flickered. Dumbo? He couldn't help but recall the scene in the snow that day, as a bitter smile appeared on his face. Was he really a Dumbo? At this moment, Qin Wentian felt several cold gazes directed at him. Even Xiu Mo was the same. This caused a strange feeling to appear in Qin Wentian's heart. Could it be that Xiu Mo's hostility towards him originated from Mo Qingqing? Chapter 111. Mo Qingqing's status in the Emperor Star Academy was different from the others. She had never passed the entrance examination like the others, but she would often appear in the academy in the past. Not only that, she also had an Emperor Star Jade Medallion, allowing her to enjoy the same resources as the other students. Not only that, it was rumored that some of the highly respected elders of the academy all recognized her. It was only in the recent 2 years that the number of times Mo Qingqing appeared in the Emperor Star Academy gradually decreased. Maybe it was because her strength was slowly growing stronger, but as to what cultivation level she had reached, only a few people knew. But there were some who guessed that if she revealed her true strength and participated in the Junlin banquet, she would definitely be able to become one of the 10 prodigies. Not only that, Mo Qingqing was definitely the dream lover of many youths in Chu. It wasn't a secret that a few of the 10 prodigies had pursued her, but Mo Qingqing had never bothered with them. At this moment, Mo Qingqing ignored Xiu Mo and called Qin Wentian a Dumbo. Such a scene caused many to be petrified. Calling him a Dumbo was somewhat intimate, as though the two of them were very familiar with each other. Even Nolan was somewhat jealous of Qin Wentian. This fellow's luck was truly good. Ever since the first time he fainted, Mo Qingqing had never treated a guy so well before. Maybe it was fate, or maybe it had something to do with the relationship between the Mo clan and the Qin clan. Miss Mo, why are you here? Qin Wentian smiled. Can't I be here? Mo Qingqing revealed an adorable smile, causing the gazes of countless people to be dumbfounded. Also, you can just call me Qingqing. Mo Qingqing smiled gently as she continued. At this moment, the gazes of the crowd were filled with undisguised jealousy. If only Mo Qingqing could speak to them in such a manner, how wonderful would that be. The gentle smile on Qiu Mo's face vanished as his countenance turned extremely unsightly. Earlier, when he called her Qingqing, he was directly ignored. Not only that, Nolan even told him to be more respectful. But earlier, Mo Qingqing had personally told Qin Wentian to just call her Qingqing. Such a disparity caused Qiu Mo to feel as though he had suffered a huge blow. There were so many people watching. Qin Wentian. Qiu Mo naturally didn't dare to have any ill intentions towards Mo Qingqing, but his hatred for Qin Wentian grew even more intense. What capabilities did this person have? Not only was he favored by the Emperor Star Academy, he was even protected by the will of the Emperor Star Academy. Not only that, Mo Qingqing even gave him special treatment. Qingqing. Qin Wentian shouted with a smile. Seeing the bright smile on the face of the girl in front of him, his heart couldn't help palpitating a little. It seemed that there was a little nervousness and excitement in it. Taking a deep breath, Qin Wentian calmed himself down and secretly scolded himself for not being tough enough to lose his composure in front of a beautiful woman. At this moment, he was not the only one who had lost his composure. He did not know how many people wanted to take his place. "Brat, you threw your senior sister aside when you saw your little lover," a voice came from the side, causing Qin Wentian's eyes to flicker, and he was stunned. Turning his gaze over, Qin Wentian saw that Luo Huan and Jiang Xiu had stopped their battle. Luo Huan giggled as she stared at Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing. The ambiguity in her eyes was extremely obvious, and her words caused Qin Wentian to feel incomparably awkward. Mo Qingqing's smiling face also had a hint of redness on it. Her beauty could topple empires, causing the spectators below to fall into a daze. The goddess of their dreams actually had such a bashful expression on her face. But what made them despair was that Mo Qingqing only revealed such a bashful expression after hearing Luo Huan's words. In fact, she didn't even say anything to refute. "It's over, Mo Qingqing, don't tell me that she really has feelings for Qin Wentian." The spectators were completely dumbfounded, as they grew increasingly jealous of Qin Wentian. "Senior sister, is it really okay for you to act like this?" Qin Wentian speechlessly asked. Wasn't Luo Huan's words a little too much? Stealthily glancing at Mo Qingqing, upon seeing her bashful expression, Qin Wentian's heart pounded. "What's not good about it? The #1 beauty of Chu, I think she's a good match for you. Why don't you hurry up and woo her? Or have you already made a move?" Luo Huan blinked her beautiful eyes, causing Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing to feel even more awkward. Pui, is this fellow even worthy of my Qingqing?" Nolan, who was at the side, was dumbfounded. She walked over to Mo Qingqing's side and unhappily stated. The number of outstanding youths who fancied Mo Qingqing could fill the entire Emperor Star Academy. How could they let this fellow off so easily? How is he not worthy? He's already able to create a third-level divine inscription at the age of 17, creating the history of Chu. In addition to the fact that my junior brother is so young and handsome, he would definitely surpass the 10 prodigies in the future. I think he and Mo Qingqing are a match made in heaven. Luo Huan seemed to be intentionally playing matchmaker, as she giggled. Impossible. Nolan fumed. The two beauties were arguing, causing Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing to be completely dumbfounded. Wasn't this the same as wanting the world to be in chaos? "You guys, what are you talking about?" Mo Qingqing felt somewhat depressed. After which, she shifted her gaze onto Qin Wentian. "Grandfather said that the Astral River Hall will be open to the Emperor Star Academy today. Let's go to the Astral River Hall and ignore them." The Astral River Hall will be open to the public? The gazes of the crowd froze. The Emperor Star Academy had 3 great cultivation grounds. First, the Heavenly Star Pavilion. Second, the Astral River Hall. Third, the Dream Sky Forest. Both the Heavenly Star Pavilion and the Astral River Hall required one to have a certain level of Emperor Star Jade Medallion to enter. This was especially so for the Heavenly Star Pavilion. Inside, there were cultivation arts, innate techniques, high-grade divine imprints, and weaponsmithing techniques. It was the same for the Astral River Hall as well. The level of one's Emperor Star Jade Medallion would determine which level one could enter. Naturally, it also depended on whether one had the ability or not. However, the Astral River Hall was different from the Heavenly Star Pavilion. Every year, the Astral River Hall would be opened to the entire Emperor Star Academy. This was an opportunity for those from the Emperor Star Academy. As long as they had the ability to ascend to the higher levels of the Astral River Hall, the Emperor Star Academy would allow them to do so. Many people speculated that the reason why the Emperor Star Academy did this was because of the Junlin banquet at the end of the year. After all, many students from the Emperor Star Academy would participate in the Junlin banquet every year. As the strongest academy in the Chu country, if the performance of the students from the Emperor Star Academy was too poor, it wouldn't be good for the Emperor Star Academy. Today, was the Astral River Hall going to be open to everyone? To those who lacked Yuan meteor stones but possessed a strong will and astral perception, this was a rare opportunity. Astral River Hall. Qin Wentian had naturally heard of the Astral River Hall before. Because he could already sense the constellations in the 5th heavenly layer, he hadn't gone to the Astral River Hall for the past year. Taking this opportunity, he might as well go and take a look. Right. Qin Wentian nodded his head, as he walked to the back of Mo Qingqing's white crane. Instantly, the white crane spread its wings and soared into the skies. The two of you. Nolan was dumbfounded as she witnessed this scene. Stomping her feet, she flew in the direction of the Astral River Hall as she angrily stated, "Smelly lass, choosing a lover over a friend. Let's see how I'll teach you a lesson." Luo Huan had a light smile on her face, feeling extremely happy. "Boss, why didn't you bring me along?" Fan Lo stretched his hands out in the air, feeling incomparably depressed. They were all brothers, didn't they say that they would share blessings together? However, this smelly brat was truly powerful. Qin Wentian had already told Fan Lu about how Mo Qingqing had helped him during the banquet and had even intentionally apologized to him. Naturally, Fan Lu wouldn't care about that misunderstanding. Xiao Mo's countenance turned ashen as he stared dumbfoundedly at the two silhouettes in the skies. Mo Qingqing actually invited Qin Wentian to ride the white crane together with her. What kind of treatment was this? There had never been a man who had received such treatment before. I know that the reason why you're targeting junior brother Qin is because of Mo Qingqing. But what's laughable is that Mo Qingqing doesn't even know who Qiao Mo is. On the contrary, you've already seen her relationship with junior brother Qin. Hence, I really don't know what's so good about you breaking through to Yuanfu in front of junior brother Qin. Even if you broke through to Yuanfu, that lass from the Mo clan still couldn't be bothered to even glance at you. At this moment, Luo Huan didn't forget to strike a blow at Qiao Mo. Not long ago, Qiao Mo had been extremely arrogant. Now that there was an opportunity for revenge, how could Luo Huan be polite to him? And you, the so-called 10 prodigies of the royal capital, after the Junlin banquet, there will no longer be a place for you. Luo Huan cast a glance at Jiang Xiu. Earlier, in the battle between the two of them, neither of them had the upper hand. See you at the Astral River Hall. Jiang Xiu coldly snorted. After which, he slowly walked out, heading in the direction of the Astral River Hall. See you at the Astral River Hall. Xiao Mo also roared as he soared up the skies, flying in the direction of the Astral River Hall. Those on the platform all stood up and headed towards the Astral River Hall. Since the Astral River Hall was open to the Emperor Star Academy today, those with high talent would be able to walk higher. Wasn't this also a form of competition? The outstanding students of the Emperor Star Academy would all compete against each other to see who could walk higher. Very quickly, the silhouettes on the platform all departed, rushing towards the Astral River Hall. That fellow Qin Wentian had obtained the favor of Mo Qincheng. Most probably, Chiu Mo and the rest wouldn't give up on this opportunity to humiliate him. Maybe, in the Astral River Hall, their competition would continue. Chapter 112. Outside the Astral River Hall, there were already many people gathered. Not only that, they were all students of the Emperor Star Academy with extraordinary talent. Evidently, they had already received the approval of their elders to come here first. At the same time, the news of the Astral River Hall's opening spread to every corner of the Emperor Star Academy. As long as one was in the Emperor Star Academy, everyone would soon know of the opening of the Astral River Hall. In the skies, a white crane descended, floating in the air. On top of the white crane, two silhouettes could be seen. The male was young and handsome, while the female was a beauty capable of toppling empires. Just a single glance at them would cause one to involuntarily praise them for being a perfect couple. However, the first emotion that appeared in the hearts of the spectators wasn't admiration, but rather, jealousy. They naturally recognized the two silhouettes on the white crane. Qin Wentian, and the number one beauty of Chiu, Mo Qincheng. It seemed like the relationship between Mo Qincheng and Qin Wentian was true. The two of them were even riding on the white crane of Mo Qincheng. This undoubtedly caused Qin Wentian to once again become the focal point of the crowd. Qin Wentian could feel the gazes of the crowd. He involuntarily glanced at Mo Qincheng beside him as he laughed. This time around, you've really caused me to be in deep trouble. Mo Qincheng gazed at Qin Wentian, as a cute smile appeared on her face. Propping up her chin with one of her hands, she giggled, "Why? Are you not willing? How can that be? With a beauty accompanying me, it's truly a feast for the eyes." Qin Wentian laughed. So even a fool has a time when he isn't stupid. Mo Qincheng smiled, causing Qin Wentian to be slightly absent-minded as he sighed in his heart. Since ancient times, people loved beauty, and those absolute beauties would always attract the adoration and pursuit of countless people. Since this was the origin of the phrase, femme fatale. At this moment, Qin Wentian could already feel the deep meaning behind this phrase. He had yet to win the heart of the beauty, but just because his relationship with Mo Qincheng was slightly better, he had already attracted the hatred of many. "Have you entered the Astral River Hall before?" Mo Qincheng gently asked as she gazed at the great hall ahead. "Nope, I heard that the Astral River Hall imitates the pressure from the 9 astral rivers in the 9 heavenly layers in order to allow Wuxia to condense an even higher level constellation. Hence, he has yet to enter it." Qin Wentian replied. "Dumbo, you are not humble at all." Mo Qincheng laughed. Qin Wentian was hinting that he didn't need to use the Astral River Hall for the time being. "But I have a name, okay?" Qin Wentian stared at Mo Qincheng. "Since when was he called Dumbo?" "I'm calling you an idiot. Do you have any objections?" Mo Qincheng pretended to glare at Qin Wentian, but there was no trace of anger on her beautiful face. She only gave off a sense of mischievousness, causing Qin Wentian's heart to throb inexplicably. Women were so beautiful that even the slightest movement of hers would cause the heartbeat of others to quicken. She was so beautiful that it was unbelievable. "You win." Qin Wentian shrugged his shoulders, completely defeated. Mo Qincheng had a victorious expression on her face as she smiled. The Astral River Hall doesn't merely imitate the pressure from the 9 astral rivers in the 9 heavenly layers. There are still many profound mysteries hidden within, it's just that not many people are able to see through them. A strange light flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. He had never heard of such a thing before, but since Mo Qincheng's maternal grandfather was his grandmaster, what she said should be correct. The Astral River Hall wasn't as simple as it seemed, and contained many profound mysteries within. More and more people gathered outside the Astral River Hall. Even the teachers of the various academies had personally arrived. They stood in front of the Astral River Hall, gazing at the students outside with faint smiles on their faces. This time around, the Astral River Hall was completely open to the public. It was unknown if there would be any outstanding talents who would be able to step into the higher levels of the Astral River Hall. Xiao Mo, Zhang Xiu, Luo Huan, Luo Cheng and the rest naturally arrived as well. They stood outside the Astral River Hall, their gazes fixed on the white crane hovering in the air. Xiao Mo's eyes gleamed with a cold light, the gentleness and elegance he exuded had long disappeared, replaced by a naked hatred and jealousy. This time around, he had wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to humiliate Qin Wentian. However, in front of the Emperor's Star Monument, not only did he fail, he was even humiliated by a few juniors. What made him even more unable to accept was Imo Qingqing's disregard of him, as well as her passion towards Qin Wentian. Just these two contrasting views were sufficient to cause him to lose all face in front of the others. Zhang Xiu's mood naturally wasn't any better. However, the two silhouettes atop the white crane in the air didn't even bother to glance at the two of them. There was no need to say anything about Imo Qingqing. She didn't even know Qiu Mo and Zhang Xiu, and only knew of them. As for Qin Wentian, he also didn't place the two of them in his heart, even if they were part of the 10 prodigies. Smelly lass, you value your lover more than your friends. Nolan stood below, her hands on her hips as she roared at the white crane in the air. Imo Qingqing had a mischievous expression on her face as she stared at Nolan. Nolan, don't talk nonsense. I won't bring you back with me later. If you don't want to bring me back, then so be it. You dare to threaten me? Nolan fumed. This lass had actually abandoned her to bring Qin Wentian along. How infuriating. Stop shouting. Imo Qingqing will become junior apprentice brother Qin's wife sooner or later. At that time, you will be an outsider. Luo Huan laughed as she walked up. Momentarily, Nolan's eyes spat out flames as she glared at Luo Huan, that smelly brat. No way. It's fine as long as he and Qin Wentian are in love. It's not like he's marrying you. How could Nolan win against Luo Huan? With just a few sentences, her face turned red, and she was speechless. Her actions caused the surrounding spectators to be stunned. The number one beauty of Chu, Imo Qingqing, and Qin Wentian were mutually in love. When did this happen? Senior sister of yours, isn't her mouth a little too much? On the white crane, Missouri Qingqing glanced at Qin Wentian with hidden bitterness. Although she treated Qin Wentian as a good friend, it wasn't to that extent. You should also understand senior sister Luo Huan's personality. She's always like this. Qin Wentian was speechless as well. Senior sister Luo Huan was attracting hatred for him. Now, the gazes of the spectators below were getting colder and colder. However, Luo Huan didn't think so in her heart. She giggled as she looked at Qin Wentian, thinking in her heart, smelly brat, this elder sister is helping you to build up momentum. Next, you will have to depend on yourself to deal with this lass. At this moment, Janus was also standing in front of the Astral River Hall. He inclined his head and stared at the white crane in the air, as a cold light flickered in his eyes. What a dog-shit lucky fellow. Janus's eyes flickered with killing intent. Naturally, he had reasons to hate Qin Wentian. Before Qin Wentian entered the Emperor Star Academy, he had already formed a grudge with Qin Wentian. However, under his suppression, Qin Wentian actually did better and better. Not only that, he even received the attention of the upper echelons of the Emperor Star Academy. This caused Janus to lose a lot of face in the elder circle of the Emperor Star Academy. He hadn't forgotten the time when Qin Wentian threatened him in front of everyone, saying that he would kill him in a few years' time. Teacher. At this moment, a silhouette walked to the side of Janus as he called out. Orkan, this is an opportunity for you. Work hard, and maybe next year, you will be able to step into Yuanfu. This can be used as a foundation for you to condense your third astral soul. Janus instructed. Your disciple understands. Orkan nodded his head, as the sharpness in his eyes was retracted. Compared to before, his demeanor was even colder, yet the sharpness he exuded was still restrained. However, the feeling he gave off was even more dangerous. It was as though the moment he erupted, he would be extremely terrifying. Not bad, he's about to break through to Yuanfu. An elder who had a good relationship with Janus nodded as he smiled at Orkan. The surrounding crowd cast deep glances at Orkan. During this period of time, Orkan had disappeared from the Emperor Star Academy. Most probably, he was preparing for the Junlin banquet as well as breaking through to Yuanfu. Orkan turned and walked towards the direction of the crowd. His gaze was incomparably sharp, piercing straight towards Qin Wentian. Even Qin Wentian, who was standing in the air, could clearly feel the ice-cold killing intent radiating from him. Mo Qingqing's countenance changed as she whispered to Qin Wentian, Dumbo, Orkan is much more dangerous than before. You have to be careful of him. I know. Qin Wentian nodded his head. He naturally understood that Orkan hated him to the bone, but wasn't he the same as well? Mustang, today, I really want to see what level of the Astral River Hall your talented disciple can ascend. Janus coldly snorted at Mustang who was standing not too far away from him. Don't forget, his second astral soul originated from the fourth heavenly layer. Orkan can't be compared to him. Mustang's countenance was calm. Just like how Janus was confident in Orkan, he was also extremely confident in Qin Wentian. Okay, you guys can now enter the Astral River Hall. The first batch of people to enter must have an Emperor Star Jade Medallion of the 4th grade or above. The gates of the Astral River Hall slowly opened as a silhouette walked out, addressing the crowd. Although the Astral River Hall was vast, it was impossible for it to accommodate too many people at once. Hence, they had to enter in batches. For the first batch of people, those with a higher grade medallion would be allowed to enter first. Let's enter. The white crane landed on the ground, and the surrounding people involuntarily opened up a path for them. Mo Qingqing and Qin Wentian walked down together, as Nolan ran up to them. Smelly lass. Mo Qingqing made a face at Nolan as she laughed, petty. Qin Wentian, I heard that your second astral soul originated from the 4th heavenly layer. I hope you won't disappoint us too much. Xiao Mo's voice drifted over from the side as he walked towards the Astral River Hall. What a pity, I'm afraid you wouldn't dare to participate in this year's Junlin banquet. Jiang Xiu's silhouette also appeared, following Qiu Mo into the Astral River Hall. How annoying. Qin Wentian stared at them as a cold smile appeared on his face. After which, he smiled, beautiful Qingqing, let's enter. Beauty Qingqing. Mo Qingqing and Nolan, who were at the side, were both stunned as they stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian blinked his eyes as he awkwardly laughed, natural reaction, natural reaction. After which, Qin Wentian acted as though nothing had happened as he continued walking forward. Staring at his back, Mo Qingqing's beautiful eyes flickered as she smiled. Her eyebrows were like crescent moons, exceptionally beautiful. Chapter 113. Mo Qingqing followed behind Qin Wentian as they entered the Astral River Hall. At this moment, there were already quite a number of people present. They were all standing there, staring at the skies above their heads. The instant Qin Wentian stepped into the Astral River Hall, his heart trembled. The space above him didn't seem to be the Astral River Hall, but rather, the starry sky. The Astral River Hall borrowed the name of the 9 heavenly layers, and was split into 9 levels. Each level represented a starry sky. Standing within the Astral River Hall was akin to standing beneath the starry sky. Over there were countless constellations. It feels so real. Qin Wentian exclaimed in admiration. A faint pressure, similar to the pressure from the first heavenly layer, permeated the air. However, the first batch of people to enter the Astral River Hall were all able to easily resist this pressure. The founder of the Emperor Star Academy is definitely a genius. Mo Qingqing smiled. Qin Wentian nodded his head in agreement. At this moment, a wave of coldness descended. Orkan's gaze shifted over to Qin Wentian. His body stood there, resembling a straight spear, cold and sharp, as though he wanted to pierce through Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian also stared at Orkan, as a cold light flickered in his eyes. Will you participate in the Junlin banquet at the end of this year? Orkan calmly asked. From his tone, one couldn't sense much anger, but one could still feel a dense coldness emanating from him. I think so. Qin Wentian stared at him as he faintly replied. If that's the case, you'd better pray that you don't meet me. Orkan took a step towards Qin Wentian, as a sharp aura frenziedly gushed towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian only felt a long spear piercing towards him. Orkan's strength was many times stronger compared to the first time they met. Boom! Taking another step forward, an astral spear materialized in Orkan's hands, incomparably sharp. Killing intent gushed forth as he lunged towards Qin Wentian. Orkan, what are you doing? Luo Huan coldly snorted, causing the gazes of the crowd to shift in their direction. Mo Qingqing's countenance also changed as an indistinct aura gushed forth from her. Don't worry, no matter how stupid I am, I won't make a move in the Emperor Star Academy. Orkan swept a glance at Luo Huan, as the long spear in his hands pierced towards the starry skies. In an instant, he broke through the restraints of the starry skies, and his body transformed into a beam of light, disappearing from the first level of the Astral River Hall. Disappeared? Qin Wentian's gaze froze. This was the first time he stepped into the Astral River Hall, so he wasn't too familiar with it. Feeling the intense killing intent radiating from Orkan, Qin Wentian's countenance grew heavy. Orkan and the rest of the Emperor Star Academy's killing intent towards him was extremely heavy. If it wasn't for the Emperor Star Academy standing behind him, he wouldn't be able to cultivate in peace. Junlin Banquet. Qin Wentian felt an immense pressure bearing down on him. With his cultivation base at the 6th level of arterial circulation, it was still insufficient for him to participate in the Junlin banquet. You actually want to participate in the Junlin banquet as well? Jiang Xiu's voice abruptly drifted over, causing Qin Wentian to raise his head to look at him. Jiang Xiu initially thought that Qin Wentian wouldn't participate in the Junlin banquet this year, but Qin Wentian actually told Orkan that he would. Very well. Jiang Xiu smiled. After which, he inclined his head and stared at the skies. His sword pierced through the Astral River Hall as his silhouette similarly disappeared from the first level. Qiu Mo also cast a glance at Qin Wentian before he too disappeared from the first level of the Astral River Hall. Many people cast their gazes in the direction of Qin Wentian. It wasn't because they had a grudge against Qin Wentian like Orkan, but rather, it was because of the commotion caused by Qin Wentian. Currently, even Mo Qingqing was looking at him in a different light. Not only within the Astral River Hall, the spectators outside the Astral River Hall were the same as well. The ones they paid the most attention to were, Qin Wentian, Mo Qingqing, Qiu Mo, Jiang Xiu, Orkan, Luo Huan, and Luo Cheng. How many levels would these people be able to ascend to? Outside the Astral River Hall, the spectators stared at the great hall ahead of them. At this moment, the first and second levels were illuminated by the starry skies. Even from the outside, they could clearly see the scene within. Orkan's speed is so fast. He's the first to ascend to the second level. Seems like the actions of Qin Wentian have also spurred him on. His current strength shouldn't be any weaker than Jiang Xiu of the 10 prodigies. Jiang Xiu, Qiu Mo, Luo Cheng and the rest have all ascended to the second level. How fast, I wonder who will be the first to ascend to the third level. The gazes of the spectators outside were all fixated on the scene within the Astral River Hall. Every time someone stepped into the Astral River Hall, the Astral River within would appear, illuminating the surroundings. Even from the outside, the spectators would be able to see it. Qin Wentian contemplated the Astral River above his head. Numerous constellations interweaved together to form a magnificent picture, as though they were flowing. A faint pressure gushed downwards, yet to Qin Wentian, this kind of pressure was negligible. Do you feel the suppressive attack of the Astral River? Luo Huan asked Qin Wentian. I feel it. Qin Wentian lightly nodded his head. The flowing constellations converged into a formless attack that landed on his body. At the same time, it stimulated his will and spirit. Break through it and you will be able to ascend. Luo Huan smiled. After which, she inclined her head as her gaze abruptly turned sharp, as though there was a sharp glint in her eyes. In an instant, a resplendent light enveloped her body, and in the next instant, Luo Huan disappeared from the sight of Qin Wentian. Evidently, to Luo Huan, this wasn't a difficult task at all. Junior brother Qin, I will wait for you up there. Mountain walked over as he spoke. After which, he punched out with his fist as he too departed from the Astral River Hall. Very swiftly, the people on the first level departed one after another. Not too long after, only 3 people remained. Qin Wentian, Mo Qingqing, and Fan Lu. None of them spoke, they quietly inclined their heads and stared at the Astral River. Boss, what did you see? Fan Li's eyes shone with a brilliant light as he stared at the Astral River above. Inscriptions. Qin Wentian replied in a low voice. He saw that the Astral River was flowing, converging into lines of inscriptions. That pressure originated from there. Seems like you are really a genius in the field of divine inscriptions, right? What I saw was an innate technique, a fist imbued with an innate technique blasting towards us. Fan Lu spoke in a low voice, his words causing Qin Wentian to furrow his brows. What he saw was actually different from what Fan Lu saw. What I saw was also an innate technique. Mo Qingqing nodded her head as she continued, the Astral River Hall is filled with mysteries, but the vast majority of people are unable to see it. Even I can't see through it. Dumbo, I will leave first. You better comprehend it yourself. After speaking, Mo Qingqing's silhouette vanished from sight, heading towards the second level of the Astral River Hall. I'm leaving too. Fan Lu smiled. With a single thought, a beam of light shot out, piercing through the void as his silhouette vanished from sight. Only Qin Wentian remained on the first level. Such a scene caused many to be astonished. Those from the Emperor Star Academy who were outside the Astral River Hall all had strange expressions on their faces when they saw that Qin Wentian was the only one on the first level. Qin Wentian's astral souls are from the 3rd and 4th heavenly layers. The first level shouldn't be able to obstruct him, right? Maybe, he just wants to experience the mysteries of the Astral River Hall. Many people mused as they inclined their heads and stared at the second level. At this moment, exclamations of shock rang out. Orkan had stepped into the 3rd level of the Astral River Hall. Such a speed was simply too terrifying. After which, Qiu Mo, Jiang Xiu, and Luo Qing also ascended to the 3rd level. Astral light enveloped the entire area, causing the spectators to feel as though they were bathed in starlight. These people have all condensed an astral soul from the 3rd heavenly layer. I wonder if they would be able to step into the 4th level of the Astral River Hall. The moment they did so, it would mean that they would have the possibility of condensing an astral soul from the 4th heavenly layer. The spectators mused. Time slowly flowed by, and there were already over 10 people who had ascended to the 3rd level. The talent of these people were evidently stronger than the rest. However, there was one point that the spectators didn't understand. Qin Wentian was still on the 1st level. What was he doing? Nobody knew. At this moment, Qin Wentian was sitting cross-legged, quietly sensing the trajectories of the astral souls. The trajectories of the astral souls interweaved into a magnificent diagram, and after which, they actually converged into a fist, blasting towards him. Boom! Qin Wentian only felt his mind trembling violently as he groaned in pain. However, an expression of excitement could be seen on his face. Divine imprints, innate techniques. In this starry space, the two of them are perfectly linked together. This is an opportunity. Qin Wentian's heart thumped wildly. He was even more excited now that he saw the fist of innate techniques. At the end, Qin Wentian simply closed his eyes and sank into contemplation. In the formless space, the fist of innate techniques blasted towards him unceasingly. Every time it blasted out, it would cause Qin Wentian's consciousness to tremble. However, this caused him to be even more excited. He definitely had to see the trajectory of the innate techniques clearly. Just like that, he sat there for 3 days. Currently, the first batch of people had already exited the Astral River Hall, and a new batch of people entered. This new batch of people also left the first level of the Astral River Hall. However, Qin Wentian was still sitting there. Nobody knew what he was doing. Gradually, the crowd started to suspect how Qin Wentian condensed his astral soul. Could it really be like what Xiao Mo had said? Did he really have a heaven-defying miraculous encounter? 5 days later, the students of the Emperor Star Academy entered and exited the Astral River Hall. There were countless of them attempting to break through their limits. Abruptly, a dazzling radiance radiated outwards. The space outside seemed to be enveloped by the astral river. The students of the Emperor Star Academy inclined their heads and stared at the Astral River Hall as their hearts involuntarily trembled. Xiao Mo has already stepped into the 4th level of the Astral River Hall. Seems like after stepping into Yuanfu, he really has a chance to condense his 3rd astral soul from the 4th heavenly layer. The hearts of the spectators trembled. No wonder Xiao Mo was ranked 4th amongst the 10 prodigies. Boom! At this moment, the hearts of the crowd trembled. Yet another silhouette appeared in the 4th level of the Astral River Hall. That person was actually Orkan. At this moment, the expressions on the faces of the crowd were extremely fascinating, as their hearts pounded wildly. It was as though they could see a dazzling genius slowly soaring up into the skies. Chapter 114. Orkan was different from Xiao Mo. He was only at the 9th level of arterial circulation, and had yet to break through to Yuanfu. Hence, it was much more difficult for him to enter the 4th level of the Astral River Hall compared to Xiao Mo. This meant that the probability of him condensing an astral soul from the 4th heavenly layer was extremely high, far higher than Xiao Mo's. Knowing shame leads to a transformation. With Orkan's will, breaking through to Yuanfu is only a matter of time. Janus smiled as he nodded his head. His gaze inadvertently swept towards the 1st level of the Astral River Hall, only to see Qin Wentian still sitting there, not knowing what he was doing. This caused a cold smile to flash past Janus' eyes as he muttered in a low voice, deliberately mystifying things. Janus wasn't so foolish as to think that Qin Wentian wouldn't even be able to exit the 1st level of the Astral River Hall. At this moment, Qin Wentian was completely immersed in his own comprehension, and had even forgotten the flow of time. He wouldn't bother about which level of the Astral River Hall was which. At this moment, in his mind, there was only the circulation of the runic patterns, as well as the power of the innate technique. The astral river flowed slowly, and the lines of runic patterns became clearer and clearer in Qin Wentian's eyes. Gradually, they converged into the shape of a fist, before abruptly blasting towards Qin Wentian. But now, such attacks were no longer able to cause Qin Wentian's will to waver. He could only quietly comprehend. Time continued to flow, and after 12 days, Mo Qincheng had also ascended to the 4th level of the Astral River Hall. However, they were no longer able to advance any further. The fourth level of the astral river hall gave them an immense pressure, and Chiu Mo had already exited it. He had no way to continue enduring the formless pressure. Still at the first level. A strange expression appeared on Chiu Mo's face when he saw Qin Wentian. What was this fellow doing? At this moment, Qin Wentian could already clearly see the flowing runic patterns. However, at the instant when he saw them clearly, a light of enlightenment appeared in his mind. It was as though he was suddenly enlightened, and everything became clear to him. Wrong. In the past, I've always been walking the wrong path. Since the divine inscriptions are completed, how can I look at the trajectories of the inscriptions? The divine inscriptions themselves are a complete entity, a type of concept. Although Qin Wentian's eyes were still closed, the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. This feeling of being suddenly enlightened was wonderful. Qin Wentian did not open his eyes. Instead, he activated his cultivation technique and allowed himself to fall into a dreamland. In the dream, Qin Wentian stood in an empty courtyard. He held the starlight heavenly hammer in his hand, and patterns interweaved in his body. Abruptly, astral energy flowed as the heavenly hammer in Qin Wentian's hand smashed downwards. In an instant, a divine inscription diagram appeared on the ground. This diagram was none other than the divine inscription scroll he had created. Possessors of a foundry astral soul are innate weaponsmiths, able to directly construct a complete set of runic patterns. Qin Wentian silently mused. Maybe, this was the true meaning of innate weaponsmiths. The ancient halberd appeared in his hands. Qin Wentian stood there as his aura surged madly. Abruptly, his silhouette transformed into a blur, as illusory wings of a Garuda appeared behind him. The ancient halberd slashed out in rage, as a hurricane manifested at the tip of the halberd, coalescing into a terrifying vortex. Boom! A muffled sound rang out in the air as the ground violently exploded. This halberd strike wasn't a variation of the berserk beast halberd art, but something he had created himself. It was similar to the aura of the divine inscription scroll, except that it was still somewhat lacking. It didn't have that dreamlike aura, and didn't have the ability to condense the might of the heavens into a single strike. Qin Wentian found the right feeling, and started to perfect this halberd strike. This attack was a fusion of his speed, divine energy, astral soul and aura. It would become his strongest attack. This halberd technique was created in my dreams, and I shall name it the Great Dream Halberd Art. Not only that, this will be the first stance of the Great Dream Halberd Art. I shall name it Mountain Splitter. Qin Wentian mused. Evidently, he had the confidence to create a complete set of halberd techniques. In the future, he would still be able to create more divine inscriptions, and create more innate techniques. The first stance was majestic and majestic, capable of cleaving apart mountains. It was also the work of Mountain Splitter. Qin Wentian continued to perfect the Mountain Splitter, and even had a grand dream, imagining himself to be an expert capable of splitting apart the heavens and earth. He would be like a Garuda, traversing the universe unhindered, and as his halberd technique blasted out, the heavens and earth would be split apart. In the blink of an eye, half a month had already passed. The majority of the first batch of participants had already exited, and upon seeing Qin Wentian still on the first level, they couldn't help but feel puzzled. However, it was precisely on this day that Qin Wentian finally opened his eyes. Standing up, he broke through the restrictions of the first level, and stepped into the second level of the astral river hall. This fellow is finally willing to step into the second level. Outside, Luo Huan was still waiting there, as she spoke in a depressed tone. During these few days, she had heard all sorts of voices. Some were puzzled, some were doubtful. However, the crowd soon discovered that Qin Wentian wasn't like the other geniuses, breaking through the restrictions of the second level in such a short period of time. Instead, he sat down cross-legged once again. Many people gradually left this place. Cultivation time was precious, and nobody had the time to waste on waiting for Qin Wentian. For days later, Qin Wentian stepped into the third level of the Astral River Hall. However, the voices of doubt from the Emperor Star Academy grew louder and louder. Could it be that Qin Wentian's reputation was undeserved? For every level of the Astral River Hall, he had to spend a long period of time before he could break through the pressure and ascend to a higher level. If not, why did he have to do so in every level? The Junlin banquet is about to begin. You better make the most of your time and come out quickly. Mo Qingqing smiled as she stared at the silhouette sitting cross-legged on the third level. After which, she and Nolan mounted the white crane and departed from the Emperor Star Academy. Outside the Astral River Hall, the atmosphere gradually quietened down. The crowd had all left, but the atmosphere within the Emperor Star Academy was even more lively than before. Because, the end of the year had already arrived, and the Junlin banquet was about to begin. How could the young geniuses who were out tempering themselves in the outside world miss out on this grand banquet? Within the Knights Association, Orkan stood there, exuding a faint coldness. Inclining his head, he stared in the direction of the Astral River Hall as he asked, which level has he stepped into? Not long ago, he stepped into the fourth level. A person beside him replied. The him they were referring to was naturally Qin Wentian. Is he still at the fourth level? Seems like this is your limit. Orkan calmly replied. Orkan wasn't the only one who felt this way. Many people also felt that Qin Wentian's limit was the fourth level. It seemed like he had encountered a miraculous encounter when he condensed an astral soul from the fourth heavenly layer. Other than a few people, as time flowed by, many people gradually forgot that Qin Wentian was still in the Astral River Hall. What the majority of the people were paying attention to was which of the returning geniuses of the Emperor Star Academy would be able to obtain a high ranking in the Junlin banquet. Orkan had stepped into the fourth level of the Astral River Hall. The current him seemed to have undergone a transformation, and he might even have the chance to obtain one of the top 9 rankings, becoming one of the 10 prodigies. There were also Jiang Xiu, Luo Cheng, Luo Huan, and the others. Naturally, there was one more person that had to be mentioned, and that was Luo Qinqiu. This person's talent was exceedingly high, and it was rumored that this time around, he only had a single goal, to obtain the top position in the Junlin banquet. There were so many geniuses in the Junlin banquet, and it was extremely difficult to obtain the top position. Especially this time around, it was said that even the geniuses of Snowcloud Country would be participating. In any case, this year's Junlin banquet was simply too exciting. Not only the Emperor Star Academy, but the entire royal capital of Chu was also boiling with excitement. The Royal Academy, Divine Wind Academy, 7 Stars Martial Palace, as well as the other academies, were all waiting with bated breath for the commencement of the Junlin banquet. Within the Royal Academy, Mu Rou stood beneath a tree, and couldn't help but feel a wave of emotions in her heart as she recalled her experiences in the past few days. Currently, the support given to her by her clan was much greater than before, and the attitude of everyone had started to change. At the same time, some of the people in the academy were no longer as cold as before. On the contrary, they were exceptionally passionate towards her. She had seen all of this with her own eyes, and after experiencing this incident, she had a deeper understanding of the meaning behind the words "the fickleness of human nature." The Junlin banquet is about to arrive. This time around, who would be the one to dazzle the royal capital? Will Qin Wentian participate? Mu Rou murmured. Every year, the Junlin banquet was the grandest event in the royal capital of Chu. This year was no exception. However, even if Qin Wentian participated this year, he wouldn't be able to achieve much. However, she believed that in the Junlin banquet next year, he would definitely unleash the most dazzling brilliance. Today, in the skies above Chu, a flock of demonic beasts could be seen. These demonic beasts were even pulling a dragon carriage, and a majestic group of experts mounted on these demonic beasts as they soared through the skies, shocking the entire Chu country. Very quickly, the news of the Crown Prince of Snowcloud arriving in the royal capital along with the geniuses of the Snowcloud country. Today, within the dark forest, disciples of the godly General Martial Palace, who were separated from the rest of the world, exited the dark forest under the lead of Luo Wuxiu, and entered the royal capital of Chu. Today, Heaven's Wonder, one of the 3 largest gambling houses in the Chu country, as well as the largest gambling house in the Chu country, had already announced the payout rates for the top 9 rankers of the Junlin banquet. Not only that, when the Junlin banquet officially started, Heaven's Wonder would also announce the betting odds for the top 9 rankers of the Junlin banquet. As for the betting odds, they would naturally use Yuan stones or Yuan meteor stones as their bets. Based on the betting odds set by Heaven's Wonder, the odds for Luo Qianqiu to obtain the top position of the Junlin banquet were the lowest. This meant that for this year's Junlin banquet, Luo Qianqiu was the one that Heaven's Wonder favored the most. Chapter 115. The Chu Emperor district of the royal capital occupied a vast area, with tens of thousands of soldiers guarding it. Normally, no one was allowed to step foot into this area. In this vast Chu Emperor district, with a single glance, one could see 9 towering platforms arranged in a triangular formation. There was 1 at the front, 3 in the middle, and 5 at the back, giving off an extremely strong sense of hierarchy. On the left and right side of the 9 towering platforms, there were tens of thousands of stone chairs, and in front of the stone chairs, there were even long tables made of stone. They were evenly distributed, as though a grand banquet could be held here. At the front of the towering platform, there was a flight of steps carved from azure dragon jadestone, exuding an aura of nobility and nobility. On top of the flight of steps, there was a throne, the azure dragon jadestone throne. In the past, when the Chu country was founded, the emperor had sat on this azure dragon jadestone throne, inviting the various feudal lords and esteemed guests to a banquet. On the 9 towering platforms, the silhouettes of the 9 armies of the past could still be seen. The entire Chu Emperor district was filled with the nobility of the emperor. And after that, the Chu Emperor district became the place where the Junlin banquet was held. During the Junlin banquet, the emperor would personally attend the banquet, inviting the feudal lords and nobles. However, the 9 towering platforms were no longer used for the banquet. Instead, they became a place where the geniuses of the Chu country could display their brilliance. Today, the warm sunlight cascaded down onto the royal capital of Chu, causing the atmosphere of the entire royal capital to boil with excitement. In the surroundings of the Chu Emperor district, a terrifying number of people gathered. Countless people from the royal capital of Chu had arrived, stopping their steps and gazing in the direction of the Chu Emperor district. In fact, there were even people from the other regions of Chu who had traversed thousands of mountains and tens of thousands of rivers to come to the royal capital, all for the sake of witnessing the grand banquet. Tomorrow would be the day the Junlin banquet would officially begin. There were already people fighting for the best view, allowing them to spectate the battles taking place on the 9 towering platforms. Some of the inns located far away from the Chu Emperor district were all built high up. Because of this, they would be able to see everything that was happening in the Chu Emperor district. Currently, these inns were already filled to the brim with people. The Junlin banquet was the grandest event held in the Chu country every year. Today, the enthusiasm of the citizens of Chu was at an unprecedented level. This kind of spirit of martial prowess was also the motivation of the generations of Chu country. I heard that this year's Junlin banquet will be the grandest one in the past tens of years. I hope that this year's Junlin banquet will be recorded in the annals of history. Yes, who would have thought that the Snowcloud country would join forces with the Chu country to organize this year's Junlin banquet? Currently, the 7 knights, 3 swords and duo prides of Snowcloud have already arrived in the royal capital of Chu and are currently residing in the royal palace. Not only that, our Chu country has the 10 prodigies, in addition to Luo Qianqiu, Orkan and the other rising stars of the younger generation, as well as the genius disciples of the various martial academies. This year's Junlin banquet will definitely be unprecedentedly fascinating. Everyone was looking forward to it. The people of Chu naturally knew who would receive the most attention in the Junlin banquet this time around. Heaven's Wonder, one of the three great markets, had an extremely high intelligence network. Just by looking at the payout rates of Heaven's Wonder, one could easily understand which group of people would receive the most attention in this Junlin banquet. Yi Wuke and Immortal Drunken Wine's names weren't listed in the betting odds. Everyone was extremely clear what this signified. Immortal Drunken Wine and Yi Wuke were no longer at the arterial circulation realm. Other than Luo Qianxiu, there was naturally one of the duo prides of Snowcloud, Sikong Mingyue. This person and the Crown Prince of Snowcloud were known as the duo prides. Other than the two of them, there were also the 10 prodigies of royal capital, as well as the arterial circulation experts of Snowcloud's 7 knights and the 3 swords. In addition to the youths from the Emperor Star Academy, the Royal Academy, and the Godly General Martial Palace. Within the royal capital, there were many who had already bet their lives on Heaven's Wonder. Naturally, there were also those who were still spectating, waiting for the start of the Junlin banquet to see the performances of these people. However, at that time, the payout rates would naturally be adjusted accordingly. Currently, within and outside the royal capital, everyone was paying close attention to the situation at the Chu Emperor District. Even within the Emperor Star Academy, the atmosphere was somewhat desolate. Occasionally, there would be a few people walking around, but the majority of the people had already left the Emperor Star Academy and were heading towards the Chu Emperor District. Among them, even the elders of the Emperor Star Academy were included. Although the royal clan and the Emperor Star Academy weren't on friendly terms, on the surface, they would still give face to the Emperor Star Academy. Hence, as long as one was an elder of the Emperor Star Academy, they would be able to obtain a seat in the Chu Emperor District. Not only for the Emperor Star Academy, the elders of the 9 martial academies would also be invited to the Junlin banquet every year. After all, the main characters of the Junlin banquet were the young geniuses of the various academies. As dusk approached, the remaining students of the Emperor Star Academy gradually departed. After all, the Junlin banquet would officially commence tomorrow morning. The students of the Emperor Star Academy had long since forgotten that Qin Wentian was still in the Astral River Hall, cultivating with his eyes closed. After so many days, there were already very few people who paid attention to Qin Wentian. The gazes of humans were always easily diverted, especially when something major was about to happen. Outside the Astral River Hall, Luo Huan, Mountain and Fan Lo stood outside, staring at the silhouette on the 4th level as they couldn't help but to smile bitterly. If that bastard still doesn't come out, he's going to miss out on the Junlin banquet this year. Although he might not be able to achieve any results this time around, it's still an opportunity for him to temper himself. Luo Huan cursed in a low voice, feeling extremely helpless. Junior brother Qin is able to remain in the 4th level for so long. From this, it can be seen that his ability to withstand pressure isn't something others can compare to. As expected of someone who has condensed an astral soul from the 4th heavenly layer. Let him stay here for a few more days, and his perception will be able to remain in the 4th heavenly layer for a longer period of time, allowing him to choose a better astral soul. Mountain seemed to be afraid that Luo Huan would disturb Qin Wentian. I don't need you to remind me. Luo Huan glared at Mountain as she continued, let's go, it's about time for us to move out. Mountain nodded his head. This time around, he and Luo Huan were also going to participate in the Junlin banquet. Senior sister, you guys go ahead first. I'll wait a little longer. Fan Lo smiled at the two of them. Luo Huan and Mountain didn't say anything as they departed, leaving Fan Lo behind. His gaze shifted onto the 4th level of the Astral River Hall, as his eyes flickered unceasingly. Rubbing his chin, Fan Lo mumbled, based on your personality, I don't think you would miss out on the Junlin banquet this time around. In the entire Emperor Star Academy, the ones who understood Qin Wentian the most were none other than Fan Lo and Qin Yao. Fan Lu had a feeling that this bastard would appear before the Junlin banquet. It wasn't that Qin Wentian couldn't break through the restrictions of the fourth level of the Astral River Hall. Although this level had already given him quite a bit of pressure, he had already gotten used to it as time flowed by. At this moment, he was carefully comprehending something. He discovered that in every level of the Astral River Hall, the countless constellations in the Astral River Hall converged into lines of runic patterns. These runic patterns then transformed into innate techniques, transforming into formless attacks, which were also known as pressure. And it was precisely this formless energy that was akin to the pressure of the astral rivers in the 9 heavenly layers. At this moment, Qin Wentian was thinking that the pressure of the fourth level was indeed similar to the pressure of the fourth heavenly layer. In that case, what about the fifth, sixth, and even the 9th level? Even the founder of the Emperor Star Academy wouldn't be able to imitate the pressure of the 9th heavenly layer. Unless, he had already reached the level where he could condense an astral soul from the 9th heavenly layer. However, that was obviously impossible. At the very least, Qin Wentian didn't believe that the founder of the Emperor Star Academy would have such a heaven-defying strength. Not only that, the runic patterns that Qin Wentian saw were still converging into fist shadows. In the night sky, there seemed to be 4 different layers of space. Each layer of space was flowing at the same time, as they converged downwards, gradually transforming into a terrifying whirlpool. Layer by layer, a fist blasted out from the black whirlpool. At the instant the fist blasted out, it was no longer a single attack. Instead, it transformed into countless fist shadows that filled the entire sky. It was similar to the revolving sea imprint of the thousand-hand imprint, where the waves of energy converged together. However, it was even more profound, and its might was even stronger. I'm going to take a look at the 5th level. Qin Wentian silently stated in his heart. After which, he stood up, and his incomparably resolute will blasted towards the black whirlpool. The terrifying fist shadows blasted downwards, yet they had no way to destroy his will. A brilliant light flashed, and his body vanished from his original location. At this moment it was already night time, yet the Astral River Hall was still as resplendent as ever. Fatty Fan Lu casually sat on the ground, and at this moment, he felt a piercing light in his eyes. Involuntarily, he opened his eyes, only to see an even more resplendent starry sky, incomparably resplendent. Fan Li's gaze stiffened as he stared unblinkingly at the Astral River Hall. 5th level, this beast. Fan Li's mouth was agape, as an expression of shock could be seen on his face. That pervert, beast, and fellow that deserved the wrath of the heavens, had actually stepped into the 5th level of the Astral River Hall. Does this mean that he has the opportunity to condense an astral soul from the 5th heavenly layer? Fan Lu blinked his eyes, as he cast a glance at his surroundings. At this moment, the Emperor Star Academy was exceptionally quiet, causing Fan Lu to feel somewhat disappointed. Staring at the astral light that filled the skies, Fan Lu murmured, "The astral light is so resplendent, but what a pity that there's no spectator. Why are you so good at picking the right time? I really want to see the expressions of Qiu Mo and Jiang Xiu when they see this scene." Fan Lu stood up and paced back and forth, feeling extremely unhappy. Such a good opportunity to show off, yet it actually happened on the night before the Junlin banquet. Yet, no one was there to witness it. How depressed Fatty was. At this moment, the old guard of the Astral River Hall was currently seated in a remote corner. Upon seeing the brilliant light of the 5th level, his cloudy eyes lit up as his body involuntarily trembled. At such a young age, he has already stepped into the 5th level of the Astral River Hall. The old guard murmured in his heart, as an indescribable feeling of joy appeared in his heart. Bzzz. At this moment, a dazzling beam of astral light erupted forth from the center of the Astral River Hall, radiating outwards towards the entire Emperor Star Academy. The resplendent astral light was so real that the old guard froze, as his body abruptly trembled violently. How is this possible? How is this possible? The old guard stared at the astral light that filled the skies, as an expression of disbelief appeared on his face. In that instant, the astral light seemed to have illuminated the entire Emperor Star Academy. Countless people inclined their heads, and it was as though they were looking at two different parts of the starry skies. Fatty Fan Lo, who was pacing back and forth, opened his mouth wide, as he stood there in a daze. It was as though his eyeballs had stopped moving. Fuck! In the night sky, a vulgar voice cursed out. After which, the astral light dimmed once again. However, at this moment, the remaining students of the Emperor Star Academy all inclined their heads, and as they stared at the disappearing astral light, expressions of bewilderment could be seen on their faces. Who was it that had lit up the second part of the starry skies? Chapter 116. What happened just now? In the night sky above the Emperor Star Academy, a low voice rang out. That instant of light illuminated the night sky of the Emperor Star Academy. It was as though they had seen a second starry sky. This scene was too miraculous. The body of the old guardian of the Astral River Hall trembled even more violently as he stared at the young and handsome silhouette slowly walking out of the Astral River Hall. Under his aged countenance, a blazing heat could be seen in his eyes. Although it was only an instant, he actually managed to ascend to the 6th level of the Astral River Hall. How did this fellow do it? Too terrifying. At this moment, Qin Wentian was still extremely depressed. When he ascended to the 5th level, he discovered that the runes of the 5th layer of the Astral River Hall flowed together, converging together to form a fist light that pressed downwards. It was extremely ferocious, causing him to be unable to withstand it. Using his strongest will, he broke through the restriction of the 5th layer and ascended to the 6th level. However, in the space of the 6th level, in just an instant, he saw the sky full of stars seem to transform into falling fist lights, converging together and blasting towards him, almost killing him, directly forcing him back to the 5th level. Because his will was heavily injured, it was difficult for him to remain on the 5th level. Hence, Qin Wentian had no choice but to exit the Astral River Hall, leaving behind a resplendent beam of light in the darkness of the Emperor Star Academy. I'm going to enter closed-door seclusion. The moment Qin Wentian exited the Astral River Hall, the first thing he said was that he was going to cultivate. Fan Li's eyes flickered. Did this perverted beast not know what he had done earlier? Tomorrow is the Junlin banquet. After a moment of silence, Fan Lu spoke to Qin Wentian. I want to cultivate. Qin Wentian stared at Fan Lu as he hurriedly departed the area. Fatty's eyes flashed as he asked, could it be that the crucial moment has arrived? Speaking of which, Qin Wentian had stayed in the Astral River Hall for so many days, he should have gained many insights. Fatty didn't believe that that bastard would waste his time here. Earlier, he had personally witnessed how after so many days of silence, Qin Wentian had finally erupted with a resplendent radiance. The only pity was that there was no audience. Fatty, this was too depressing. Thinking of this, the fat man pulled a long face and chased after Qin Wentian, the fat on his body jiggling. The Emperor Star Academy was still as quiet as ever, but at this moment, there were many who felt their hearts trembling. They had always been in the Emperor Star Academy, protecting this sacred ground. It was as though they were eternally hidden in the darkness, rarely coming out. In fact, even when they came out, nobody knew who they were. Qin Wentian had indeed returned to closed-door seclusion. Even if the Junlin banquet was held tomorrow, he wanted to sort out the insights he had gained during these few days. Those insights would be able to allow his strength to take another step forward, and when he stacked them together, he would be able to undergo a transformation. Therefore, as soon as he returned to his residence, he fell asleep. It was a dream of his own making. Beside him, there were many Yuan meteor stones. These Yuan meteor stones could be used at any time. Tonight, at the place where Qin Wentian was staying, the astral light was exceptionally resplendent. In the skies, two constellations cascaded downwards, enveloping the sleeping Qin Wentian. Although he was in a state of deep sleep, Qin Wentian released both of his astral souls at the same time, absorbing the astral energy from the astral light. Within his body, crackling sounds could be heard unceasingly. A terrifying energy was currently frenziedly battering against his body, akin to the crashing waves of the ocean. The crashing sounds were exceptionally clear in the darkness of the night. At this moment, Qin Wentian didn't fall into a deep dream. He was only observing his own body in his sleep. At this moment it was as though he could see the acupoints and arterial pathways in his body, as well as the veins and arteries in his body. A brand new pathway was being madly opened up, gushing towards every part of his body. A beam of light shone into Qin Wentian's body. 7 stellar meridians were opened up, and these 7 stellar meridians were akin to 7 astral rivers that flowed horizontally across his body. Each of them had their own trajectories, yet there seemed to be a miraculous connection between them. Motes of astral light flowed within the stellar meridians, causing Qin Wentian to feel slightly moved in his heart. He shattered the meridians in his body, allowing the astral energy to converge into a river. The newly formed stellar meridians were truly akin to the astral river. Wasn't the body of a human also akin to the starry sky? Now that my stellar meridians are unobstructed, it's much easier for me to unleash innate techniques from my hands. However, the astral river is magnificent, and the astral energy can be channeled to any location. Within my body, innate techniques condensed from astral energy can also be unleashed from my feet. Or it can be the same as before, when I spit out palm imprints from my mouth. Qin Wentian thought in his heart. He increasingly felt that cultivation wasn't easy. Why couldn't he open up his mind and develop his own way of thinking? Instead, he had to follow the limits of his thoughts and cultivate step by step. He himself had once linked divine imprints and innate techniques together. Even Senior Gung Hong hadn't thought of this. And Senior Gung Hong had also said that after stepping into the Heavenly Dipper realm, astral souls would become a type of attack. Now, he could also use them to attack innate techniques. The path of cultivation was difficult, but this difficult path was boundlessly vast. Why couldn't he roam freely within it? When he awoke from his dream, it was already daytime. The morning air was slightly damp, emitting a hint of coldness. Qin Wentian opened his eyes, and within them, a sharp glint of light erupted forth, as resplendent as the constellations in the night sky. It was as though there was a constellation within his eyes. He only felt his mind becoming clearer, his vision becoming clearer, and his ears becoming more sensitive. He could even hear the slightest movement of the grass in the wind. This was the change brought about by his cultivation base. Every time he opened an arterial pathway, his cultivation base would rise, and the quality of his body would also rise accordingly. My Yuan meteor stones have been completely depleted. Qin Wentian mused in his heart. Cultivation consumed too many resources. Luckily, the current him didn't need to worry about Yuan meteor stones for the time being. Stretching his muscles, Qin Wentian's body emitted a crisp crackling sound as he stood up. This feeling was extremely wonderful, as all the pores on his body felt incomparably comfortable. You're finally willing to wake up. A voice drifted over from the side. Fatty Fan Lo was lazily lying in a pavilion, his eyes still drowsy, as though he hadn't woken up yet. Fatty, why are you sleeping here? Qin Wentian couldn't help but smile as he discovered Fan Li's presence. Waiting for you to participate in the Jun Lin banquet. Fan Lo stood up, dusting off the dust on his robes as he stared at Qin Wentian in disdain. However, in that disdainful gaze of his, Fan Lo couldn't even allow Fatty to have a good night's sleep. You're going to participate as well? Qin Wentian's eyes shone with a brilliant light. These few days, Teacher Mustang had been watching over Fatty's cultivation, and his improvement should be extremely great. Not only that, Qin Wentian had given Fatty quite a number of Yuan meteor stones for his cultivation. Qin Wentian was very clear that Fatty's talent wasn't bad at all. Just like what Mustang had said, Fatty was simply too lazy. "I'm going to place my bet," Fatty casually replied. He was thinking that after Qin Wentian registered and displayed his talent, Heaven's Wonder would definitely offer a payout for Qin Wentian. At that time, he would bet everything he had on Qin Wentian. For someone like Qin Wentian who was completely disregarded, as long as he could charge into the top 9 rankings, the payout would definitely be extremely high. As he thought of this, Fatty's eyes shone as he stared at Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian to involuntarily shiver. What kind of devious scheme was this bastard plotting? Early in the morning, the Chu Emperor district was already filled with a sea of people. The royal capital had sent out an army of 10,000 to maintain order, sealing off the entire area around the Chu Emperor district. Anyone who came to spectate had to maintain a certain distance from the Chu Emperor district, and not disturb the commencement of the Junlin banquet. This region was the same as many other regions in the royal capital. For those below Yuanfu, flying was prohibited. However, at this moment, there were many demonic beasts flying about in the skies. Not only that, in the direction of the royal capital, there were rows of demonic beasts carrying delicacies and wine, placing them on the cleanly clean tables. Staring at the silhouettes of demonic beasts that blotted out the skies, the spectators couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. This was the grandest event in the Chu country every year. The Junlin banquet was being held today. The royal clan had invited the nobles and nobles, as well as guests from all over the world. The people from the Mu clan have arrived. The Mu clan that has always been low profile has actually arrived early. The gazes of the spectators shifted towards the platform, only to see a row of silhouettes appearing there. The Mu clan was one of the noble clans of the royal capital, and naturally, they had a seat there. Mu Rou also appeared within the crowd of the Mu clan. The people from the O clan have also arrived. I heard that Orkan is extremely ambitious this time around. Another row of silhouettes descended. These were none other than the people from the O clan. According to the payout rates offered by Heaven's Wonder, Orkan had an extremely high possibility of obtaining one of the top 9 rankings. Most probably, the O clan was currently sharpening their blades. The people from the Yi clan and the Violet King Palace have arrived together. And who are the people following behind the Yi clan? That young lady is extremely beautiful, but I don't think the Yi clan has such a character. That's Autumn Snow from the Bai clan. She once caused a huge commotion, but when she was condensing her second astral soul, there seemed to be signs of her death. Someone replied, as the crowd was enlightened. So it was the Bai clan from the Sky Harmony City. At this time last year, this matter had also caused a huge commotion in the royal capital. After all, the person who condensed his first astral soul for the third astral soul was someone who created history. After arriving in the royal capital, Autumn Snow didn't have much achievements, and the Bai clan was gradually forgotten by the masses. Instead, Qin Wentian, who had lost face in the Sky Harmony City, had now become a character that no one dared to approach. The people from the various martial academies have also arrived. At this moment, more and more people arrived, causing a huge commotion. The people from the Star River Association have also arrived. The people from the Divine Weapon Pavilion have also arrived. The people from the Mo clan have also arrived. The crowd stared at the platform, as they felt a surge of emotions in their hearts. The various transcendent powers of the royal capital had all gathered at the Junlin banquet. Chapter 117. The Star River Association transcended the royal clan. The wealth of the Divine Weapon Pavilion could rival an entire country. The Mo clan had the strongest cultivators below the Heavenly Dipper realm in Chu. These 3 major powers all had a special status in Chu. Today, they were all gathered here. The Divine Weapon Pavilion has never appeared in the Junlin banquet before. The crowd mused. But now, they were here. Why did the Divine Weapon Pavilion appear? It was rumored that the Divine Weapon Pavilion held Qin Wentian in high regard. Back then during the snowstorm, Qin Wentian had obstructed the path of the third prince, Chu Tianjiao, and the Divine Weapon Pavilion had stood behind him. The Mo clan hasn't appeared in the Junlin banquet for a few years now. Could it be that Mo Qingcheng wants to participate in this year's Junlin banquet? Expressions of curiosity appeared on the faces of the spectators as they stared in the direction of the Mo clan. Qingcheng, you're here as well. In the direction of the Yi clan, Yi Wuk called out to Mo Qingcheng. Mo Qingcheng calmly glanced over there, ignoring him. Yi Wuk wasn't angered, he continued standing there quietly. His extraordinary handsomeness was also being stared at by many young maidens. For an outstanding man like Yi Wuk, he naturally wouldn't lack admirers. In the Royal Academy, there were many who took the initiative to woo him. However, to Yi Wuke who pursued perfection, he felt that only a beauty like Mo Qingcheng would be more compatible with him. It was just that Mo Qingcheng had never treated him with sincerity. He had once tried to woo Mo Qingcheng, but he had clearly failed. However, seeing that all those who wooed Mo Qingcheng had failed, he gradually accepted it. But now, he felt somewhat unhappy in his heart because Mo Qingcheng seemed to view Qin Wentian in a different light. Not only that, the Yi clan had once represented him to go to the Sky Harmony City, bringing Qin Wentian's fiancée back to the royal capital. In Yi Wuk's eyes, autumn snow naturally couldn't be compared to Mo Qingcheng. Especially now that autumn snow was on the verge of death, he still had to consider whether or not she could become his woman. The people from the royal palace have arrived. At this moment, the crowd raised their heads and gazed into the distance, only to see a group of demonic beasts rushing over, landing behind the throne of the Chu Emperor district. Following which, a group of silhouettes slowly ascended, walking to the most eye-catching position. The person in the center was none other than Chu Tianjiao. This year, during the Junlin banquet, the sovereign king had yet to arrive. Chu Tianjiao sat on the throne of the Chu Emperor district. This meant that from today onwards, the Emperor of Chu had announced to the entire world that Chu Tianjiao was his successor. This was a silent declaration, signifying that it was only a matter of time before Chu Tianjiao ascended to the throne of Chu. Looks like His Majesty King Chu's health isn't very good. Many in the crowd silently speculated. If not, the sovereign king wouldn't have been absent from the Junlin banquet this time around. Not only that, he had even handed over the position of crown prince to Chu Tianjiao. Beside Chu Tianjiao, there were several silhouettes. On the left, Luo Qianqiu appeared, standing side by side with several other youths. In front of Luo Qianqiu, there was a silhouette that seemed to be Luo Qianqiu's elder. This scene caused a sharp glint of light to flash in the eyes of those who knew the inside story. If they knew Luo Qianqiu's identity, they would naturally be able to guess where these people came from. The gazes of those in the crowd couldn't help but turn heavy. They were from the Nine Mystical Palace, standing behind the curtains of Chu. As for the right side of Chu Tianjiao, there was a silhouette with an extraordinary demeanor. He casually stood there, with a smile on his face. His demeanor didn't lose out to Chu Tianjiao in the slightest, causing people to feel that this person was a dragon amongst men. The Crown Prince of Snowcloud, Xiao Lok, one of the duo prides. In Snowcloud, his prestige wasn't inferior to Chu Tianjiao's. Beside Xiao Lok was a group of youths. They were none other than the most outstanding geniuses of Snowcloud, including Xikong Mingyue, the Three Swords and Qi Yi of Snowcloud. At this moment, the spectators all stood up, casting their gazes onto Chu Tianjiao. This was the etiquette of the Junlin banquet, except that in the past, it was reserved for the emperor. But today, it was reserved for Chu Tianjiao. Everyone, please be seated. Chu Tianjiao stretched out his hands, as he smiled. After which, he took the lead and sat down on the throne. Everyone was going to witness history together. Thank you, Your Highness. The crowd bowed, as they all sat down. Everyone, please enjoy the banquet. Chu Tianjiao politely spoke, as he took the lead and toasted the crowd. At the same time, on the 9 towering platforms in the middle, a few silhouettes walked up, preparing a table, chair, and brush. Today, I'm extremely honored that the Snowcloud country will be co-hosting the Junlin banquet together with my Chu country. I believe that this banquet will be a grand occasion for our Chu country. Now, as long as you're at the 5th level of arterial circulation or above, and are below Yuanfu, you can all ascend to the 9 towering platforms and register for the Junlin banquet. And I, along with everyone else here, will be one of the witnesses of this banquet. Chu Tianjiao smiled as he spoke to the crowd. The minimum requirement to participate in the Junlin banquet was the 5th level of arterial circulation. If one's cultivation base was any lower, there was no need for them to participate at all. Because, for those below the 5th level of arterial circulation, it was impossible for them to obtain the top 9 rankings of the Junlin banquet. Similarly, those at this level wouldn't miss out on the Junlin banquet next year. For the 9 towering platforms, you can choose which one to register for the Junlin banquet. After which, there will be an elimination battle on each of the platforms. You can randomly select someone to battle until there are only 2 remaining. Out of the 9 towering platforms, a total of 18 people will advance to the next round. At this moment, an old man stood beside Chu Tianjiao as he continued, these 18 people will proceed to the next round of battles to determine the top 9 rankings of this year's Junlin banquet. The rules of the Junlin banquet were very simple. There would be 9 towering platforms where battles would take place at the same time. On each platform, there would be an elimination battle until there were only 2 remaining. Because of the existence of the 9 fighting platforms, those who were expected to be able to compete for the top 9 positions could register on different platforms to avoid being eliminated in the first round of elimination. In this way, those who were expected to compete for the top 9 positions would not be eliminated in advance. Qianqiu, the next stage will be yours. Beside Chu Tianjiao, the old man in the lead calmly spoke to Luo Qianqiu, who was standing beside him. Luo Qianqiu lightly nodded his head. This time around, the top ranker of the Junlin banquet would definitely be his. Stepping out, Luo Qianqiu's silhouette leapt up, as though he had transformed into a great rock, descending from the heavens and landing on the first towering platform. Luo Qianqiu chose to register for the first towering platform. At the same instant, a silhouette appeared beside Luo Qianqiu. It was actually Xikong Mingyue. He exchanged a glance with Luo Qianqiu, and a resplendent light could be seen flickering in their eyes. Luo Qianqiu, Xikong Mingyue. These two have the highest hopes of obtaining the top ranking of this year's Junlin banquet. This point can be seen from the payout rates of Heaven's Wonder. The two of them actually registered for the same towering platform. The gazes of the crowd froze. If this was the case, the judges wouldn't allow the two of them to clash against each other. If not, the 2 seated participants would be eliminated, and that wouldn't be a good thing to watch. It was as though the number of participants on the first towering platform had already been determined. Luo Qianqiu and Xikong Mingyue wouldn't be able to register for the first towering platform. The crowd gradually walked towards the 9 towering platforms, and wrote their names down. The information provided by Heaven's Wonder is truly tyrannical. For this year's Junlin banquet, Immortal Drunken Wine and Yi Wukei seem to have no intentions of participating. They must have already broken through to Yuanfu, and the last 5 of the 10 prodigies all chose different platforms to register for the banquet. Xikong Mingyue, who was beside Xiao LVL, has already registered. 2nd of the 3 swords, 5th of the 7 knights have also registered. Their combat prowess should be at the peak of arterial circulation. Not only that, they also chose different platforms to register for the banquet. Some of the more outstanding characters from the Emperor Star Academy have also registered. Orkan, Luo Huan, and Luo Cheng. I heard that their combat prowess isn't any weaker compared to Jiang Xiu. That's Ho Tai and Lengye from the Godly General Martial Palace. These two are also favored by Heaven's Wonder, and have a high chance of getting into the top 9 rankings. The information provided by Heaven's Wonder was extremely terrifying. They had even managed to obtain information about the geniuses from the godly General Marshal Palace, who rarely ventured into the royal capital. Not only that, at this moment, not far away from the Chu Emperor district was a branch of Heaven's Wonder. When spectating the battles, one could even run over to the Drunken Wonder Pavilion to see the changes in the payout rates. After a period of time, the crowd gradually walked onto the fighting platform. Everyone discovered a strange rule. Those who had a chance to compete for the top 9 positions almost all avoided the situation where many people appeared on the same platform. Obviously, they were also observing each other, as if they had some kind of tacit understanding. According to the payout rates provided by Heaven's Wonder, those who had a chance of getting into the top 9 rankings were Snowcloud Country, Siko Mingyue of the Duo Prides, 2nd and 3rd of the 3 Swords, and 5th of the 7 Knights, from the 3rd to 7th Knight. Emperor Star Academy, Luo Qianxiu, Orkan, Jiang Xiu, Luo Huan, Luo Cheng. Among them, Luo Huan and Luo Cheng were chosen, causing many to feel a little surprised. However, the payout rates for them were extremely high, and it was obvious that their chances of getting into the top 9 rankings weren't as high as the others. Royal Academy, 8th of the 10 Prodigies, Shi Jun, and the Little Prince, Chu Qin. Godly General Marshal Palace, Ho Tai, Lengya. Divine Wind Academy, 6th of the 10 Prodigies, Jiang Feng. There were also the 7th of the 10 Prodigies, Yi Ji, and the 9th of the 10 Prodigies, Kuang Sheng. Yi Ji was the adopted daughter of the Yi clan, while Kuang Sheng was a disciple of the Mad Blade sect. Out of these people, if Luo Huan and Luo Cheng were excluded, there would be a total of 18 rankings. Those who were attentive would discover that these 18 people were all on the 9 towering platforms, with 2 people on each platform. At this moment, on the platform that was the furthest away from the Junlin banquet, a silhouette abruptly appeared. The instant this silhouette leapt onto the platform, a commotion broke out among the spectators. Qin Wentian, he's also registered for the Junlin banquet, and is currently on the 9th platform. Chu Tianjiao's eyes flickered with an expression of interest as he gazed in that direction. Qin Wentian. Yi Wuk, upon seeing Qin Wentian's appearance, involuntarily cast a glance at Autumn Snow and her daughter, who were seated behind the Yi clan. In the direction of the Mo clan, Mo Qingqing had a smile on her face as she spoke in a low voice, "Do your best. Qingqing, I heard that you've been quite close with that brat from the Qin clan recently." At this moment, a middle-aged man beside Mo Qingqing spoke in a low voice, causing Mo Qingqing's countenance to stiffen. She then smiled, "Didn't you guys say that the Mo clan was on good terms with the Qin clan in the past? I got along well with Qin Wentian, so we naturally became friends. Is that really the case?" The middle-aged man laughed as he looked at his daughter. "What are you thinking about?" Mo Qingqing couldn't help but blush when she saw her father staring at her. Chapter 118. Luo Qianxiu, the Yi clan, the O clan, the Mu clan, and the Yan clan all saw Qin Wentian, but each of them had different thoughts in their hearts. Although Qin Wentian's strength wasn't bad, and he had once defeated Yanaro, it didn't seem like he would be able to obtain a place in the Junlin banquet. He should be Qin Wentian. In the direction of the Mu clan, an old man whispered to Mu Rou. He had seen Qin Wentian's portrait before. Mu Rou lightly nodded her head, as a brilliant light flickered in her eyes when she looked at Qin Wentian. That divine inscription painting had allowed her to obtain a promise from Gong Yanghong, and she had yet to personally thank Qin Wentian for this. However, Mu Rou was still slightly worried. The Junlin banquet was different from ordinary sparring. The Chu country emphasized martial prowess, and in the grandest arena of the Chu country, everyone wanted to obtain a good ranking. The battles would be extremely intense, and casualties were a common occurrence. Unless one side admitted defeat, the other side would have no choice but to stop. And as long as the word "admit defeat" wasn't shouted out, one could be ruthless. Dying in the Junlin banquet wasn't something rare. Regardless of which academy or which power they were from, if they died in battle because they refused to admit defeat, there was no reason to blame their opponents. Autumn Snow naturally saw that silhouette. In her heart, there was a knot in her heart. Because the person she wanted to break off the engagement with, was now gradually pulling further and further away from her. He should be participating in the Junlin banquet just to join in the fun. Autumn Snow thought in her heart, as though she was consoling herself. He's just a supporting character. What's the point of participating in the Junlin banquet? Bai Qingsong calmly stated, as though he was intentionally saying this for Autumn Snow to hear. He naturally knew the knot in Autumn Snow's heart, because he too had a knot in his heart. At this moment, Jiang Xiu's gaze was extremely sharp. Qin Wentian had registered on the 9th towering platform, and he had registered on the same platform as well. This meant that the two of them had a chance of meeting each other. As he thought of this, a cold smile appeared on Jiang Xiu's face. He hoped that Qin Wentian's strength would be stronger. That way, he wouldn't be eliminated too early and wouldn't even have the chance to meet Qin Wentian. Yanaro's countenance was as cold as ever. He was the same as Qin Wentian, registering his name on the same platform. Very quickly, there were no longer people heading towards the 9 towering platforms. Everyone who wished to participate in the Junlin banquet had already registered. There were over 100 participants on each of the platforms. The one with the fewest dueling platforms was naturally the first dueling platform. The two most promising candidates, Luo Qianxiu and Sikong Mingyue, were both there. Who would dare to be cannon fodder? Compared to the other dueling platforms, the first dueling platform had no hope at all. In the area where the Divine Weapon Pavilion was located, the person sitting at the very front was exceptionally eye-catching. This was a girl who seemed to be around 25 or 26 years of age. She was exceedingly beautiful and exuded a mature femininity, appearing exceptionally alluring. This girl was none other than the Vice Pavilion Master of the Divine Weapon Pavilion, An Luyen. At this moment, An Luyen smiled as she gazed at the 9 towering platforms. The distribution of the 18 most promising candidates is quite even, with 2 people on each platform. It's as though they all have a tacit understanding. Only in this case can we test the others. If we want to break through the 9 platforms, we have to surpass all of them. Yang Chen, who was at the side, laughed as he continued, the participants on the 9th platform that Qin Wentian is on can be considered the weakest. Jiang Xiu, ranked last among the 10 prodigies, and Qi Yi, ranked 7th among the 7 knights. Compared to the other platforms, it should be easier to break through the 9th platform. That's where you're wrong. An Luyen laughed. It's precisely because everyone thinks that it's easier to break through the 9th platform that some of the stronger ones also registered there. For example, Luo Cheng from the Emperor Star Academy, he's not weak at all. There's also Yanaro. He has already broken through to the 8th level of arterial circulation, so his strength should be pretty good as well. Hence, I feel that the battles on the 9th platform would be the most intense. I didn't expect this. Although our Divine Weapon Pavilion doesn't know much about the youths outside, I'm afraid that those from the other powers would be able to easily see through us. Yang Chen laughed. And at this moment, the person beside Chu Tianjiao spoke again, I hope that the representatives of the 9 martial academies will be sent out. From each of the 9 martial academies, 1 representative stood up. After which, they soared through the air and landed on the 9 platforms, receiving the name list and writing down their names. The 9 martial academies were the judges of the 9 platforms, and they were in charge of selecting the participants. Is it finally going to start? In the vast surroundings of the Chu Emperor district, the gazes of countless people were fixed on the 9 platforms. This was a grand banquet. The spectators on the viewing platforms didn't seem to be too interested in the banquet. They were all filled with anticipation for the disciples of their respective sects, hoping that they would be able to perform well. The first platform, Luo Qianqiu vs. Hiyu. The second platform, Second Sword vs. Bai Ming. The third platform, Third Knight vs. Wang Xiao. The judges of the various martial academies all seemed to have a tacit understanding. The first name they called out was the name of the strongest seeded contender of this year's Junlin banquet. The 3 swords and 7 knights from Snowcloud Country didn't use their real names to register. Instead, they used Jian and Yi as their code names. The gazes of the spectators followed the direction of the voices, and very quickly, their gazes landed on the judge of the 9th platform. Jiang Xiu was extremely excited. According to the rules of the previous 8 platforms, the first name called out was always the strongest contender. In that case, the name called out this time should be him, right? The 9th platform, Jiang Xiu vs. Qin Wentian. As the sound of the final announcement faded, Jiang Xiu's gaze abruptly froze as he stared at the judge of the 9th platform. The first name he called out was indeed Jiang Xiu, and the person he would be fighting against was actually Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian. After being stunned for a moment, the corners of Jiang Xiu's mouth curled up into a cold smile. This was the first battle of the Junlin banquet, the first time he, Jiang Xiu, stood on the stage of the Junlin banquet. Similarly, it was also the first time for Qin Wentian. A genius divine inscriptionist who was praised by countless people, as well as a genius cultivator, was blasted off the platform in the cruelest and most direct manner, disappearing from the Junlin banquet. Such a scene would definitely be extremely interesting. Qin Wentian was also stunned. His eyes flickered as he stared at the judge of the 9th platform. This fellow couldn't be doing this intentionally, right? The first battle was against Jiang Xiu of the 10 prodigies. Although he was ranked last, there was no need to doubt his strength as a member of the 10 prodigies. The spectators were all stunned. Jiang Xiu and Qin Wentian's names were like thunder piercing through the ears. Both of them were extremely famous. One of them was one of the 10 prodigies, while the other was known as the most talented divine inscriptionist in the royal capital. At the same time, he also had an extremely high combat talent. They would clash against each other in the first battle. This 9th platform instantly attracted even more gazes compared to the first platform. At this moment, many people were thinking that Qin Wentian might be using the Junlin banquet as a tempering exercise. Could it be that this tempering exercise would end just like that? Wasn't this a little too ridiculous? That judge was also very interesting. However, nobody said anything. After all, the Junlin banquet was a competition of strength. The judge could choose any of the participants to battle. Remember to pay attention to your safety. Qin Yao didn't care about what the spectators were thinking. She helped Qin Wentian straighten his robes as she smiled. She didn't really care about Qin Wentian's victory or defeat, but he definitely had to walk out of this place unscathed. Good, don't disappoint us. Luo Huan giggled. The pressure of this battle was extremely great. Boss, it's all up to you now. Fan Lu grinned. Currently, Heaven's Wonder had yet to reveal Qin Wentian's name in the payout for the top 9 contenders. Even if it was, nobody would bet on Qin Wentian. Fatty had been waiting patiently. He didn't expect that the first opportunity would appear. As long as Qin Wentian defeated Jiang Xiu, Qin Wentian's name would immediately appear in Heaven's Wonders list. I will do my best. Qin Wentian smiled as he walked towards the 9th platform. An instant later, he stood on it. Jiang Xiu also walked up the platform, appearing in front of Qin Wentian. At this moment, on the 9 towering platforms, 18 youths simultaneously ascended the stage of the Junlin banquet. From this moment onwards, the Junlin banquet would open a new chapter. Mo Qingqing, Mu Rou, Yanaro, the Yi clan, the O clan, the Bai clan, the Divine Weapon Pavilion and the Star River Association. Their gazes were fixated on the two silhouettes on the ninth platform. Would Qin Wentian be eliminated in the first battle? An expression of interest appeared on Jiang Xiu's face. Not long ago, he had crossed swords with Qin Wentian. Although he had some strength, when a true battle erupted, Qin Wentian wouldn't stand a chance at all. Qin Wentian, on such a grand stage, under the gazes of so many people, a so-called genius like you would be eliminated in the first battle. Isn't it very interesting? Jiang Xiu indifferently asked. Qin Wentian didn't reply. He inclined his head slightly, staring at the skies. The sun rose from the east, slowly rising up until everyone could feel its radiance. The young man had walked all the way from the Sky Harmony City, experiencing countless hardships, experiencing countless life and death situations, before finally standing on the Junlin banquet in Chu. Today, he would let the entire Chu country feel his radiance. Today, he would once again prove himself in front of the entire Chu country. Mustang had once told him that a year from now, it would be the time for him to release his radiance. However, a year was too long, and he had to seize every minute. Today, he stood here, not for anything else, but for the sake of obtaining first place. At this moment, the heart of the young man was as hot as the sun. Chapter 119. Qin Wentian stood there, inclining his head as he stared at the skies. The handsome face of the youth was filled with tranquility and indifference. That radiant smile on his face was filled with an intense self-confidence. The sunlight shone on his handsome face, adding to his beauty. At this moment, the youth of Qin Wentian seemed to possess a unique charm. What a handsome fellow! At this moment, at the location of the Mo clan, Mo Qingqing's father couldn't help but smile when he saw the radiant smile on the face of the youth. It's truly rare for the Qin clan to have such a son. This youth has walked through storms, and with his own hard work, he finally stood on the greatest stage in Chu. Let's hope that he can create a miracle. The members of the Mo clan sent their blessings to Qin Wentian. I will. Mo Qingqing gently smiled. At this moment, Qin Wentian was truly good-looking. The spectators couldn't help but have strange expressions on their faces when they saw the smile on Qin Wentian's face. Could it be that he really didn't care that he would be blasted off the platform in the first battle, completely vanishing from the Junlin banquet? Or could it be that he was blindly confident that he would be able to defeat Jiang Xiu of the 10 prodigies? At this moment, an explosive sound rang out on the first towering platform. Luo Qianxiu defeated his opponent with a single punch. Because he didn't take the initiative to concede, his opponent was directly flung through the air after being struck by the lightning bolt. The bones in his body were all fractured, and his meridians were all crippled. This was the quickest battle, and Luo Qianxiu only spared his opponent's life. It was as though he was announcing to the crowd in the most tyrannical manner. This year's Junlin banquet was a stage that belonged to him. At the same time, on the 9th towering platform, Jiang Xiu's aura erupted forth as an intense sword qi howled in rage. In his hands, a sword condensed from astral energy appeared. On the stage of the Junlin banquet, it was naturally forbidden to use divine weapons. If not, how could there be any fairness? A raging sword wind swept through the air as Jiang Xiu released his sword-type astral soul. Momentarily, the sword intent in his surroundings rose once again, becoming even more tyrannical. Ear-piercing sounds rang out as Jiang Xiu's aura continued to rise, all the way to the peak. Even though the crowd was far away, they could still feel the rising aura and sword intent. Their hearts trembled slightly. Jiang Xiu hadn't even started fighting, but he had already unleashed his strongest aura. He didn't hide any of his strength in preparation for the upcoming battle. There was no need to mention the confidence contained in his actions. At the same time, he wanted to announce to Qin Wentian that in front of Jiang Xiu, a so-called genius like him was nothing. He wanted to use the most tyrannical and direct method to crush Qin Wentian. He was Jiang Xiu, one of the 10 prodigies of the royal capital. The humiliation he suffered that day in the Emperor Star Academy would be repaid today. You still have a choice now. Leave this stage that doesn't belong to you. Do you want to get off the stage yourself, or do you want me to do it? Jiang Xiu said calmly, as if he intended to humiliate Qin Wentian. Within Qin Wentian's body, the 7 arterial pathways within his body erupted with power. The astral energy within his body seemed to be roaring, and his aura was similarly soaring. From today onwards, the name of Jiang Xiu will no longer be part of the 10 prodigies of the royal capital. Qin Wentian's voice slowly drifted out. Within the calmness of his voice, there was an unparalleled self-confidence. Such self-confidence caused the crowd to be taken aback. No one would have thought that in the face of the 10 prodigies, Qin Wentian would be able to say such words. From today onwards, the name of Jiang Xiu will no longer be part of the 10 prodigies of the royal capital. 7th level of arterial circulation. In the direction of the Emperor Star Academy, a smile appeared on Mustang's face as he sensed the aura emanating from Qin Wentian. Speaking of which, he felt somewhat ashamed. This disciple of his had outstanding talent, yet he hadn't taught Qin Wentian anything at all. For cultivation techniques, Qin Wentian already possessed them. For innate techniques, Qin Wentian was extremely proficient in them. This also caused Mustang to feel extremely depressed. He understood that this meant that based on his own capabilities, it was impossible for him to guide this disciple of his. He was unable to control Qin Wentian's talent, which was why such a situation had occurred. Naturally, Mustang was proud of Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian was the disciple he had discovered in the Sky Harmony City. Today, was Qin Wentian going to announce his existence to the entire Chu country? Mustang was filled with anticipation, as well as nervousness. Would Qin Wentian be able to defeat Jiang Xiu? When the crowd sensed Qin Wentian's aura, they were all taken aback. It was said that when he entered the Emperor Star Academy, he was only at the body refinement realm. In just a short span of a year, he had already broken through to the 7th level of arterial circulation. In addition to his achievements in the Tao of Divine Inscriptions, even if he didn't perform well during the Junlin banquet, no one would doubt him too much. That was fate. He was already outstanding enough. His cultivation base at the 7th level of arterial circulation similarly stimulated Yizhan, Lu Yan, Bai Qingsong and Autumn Snow. Yizhan had once hunted down Qin Wentian, but now, they were no longer on the same level. Bai Qingsong and Autumn Snow also knew that a year ago, Qin Wentian wasn't at the body refinement realm. In reality, at that time, Qin Wentian had only just started cultivating. The other battles on the other platforms were quickly concluded. However, many people didn't notice that none of the other platforms could attract the attention of the crowd like the 9th platform. Not only because of the fame of the two of them, but also because of Jiang Xiu's pride, as well as Qin Wentian's self-confidence. Under the attentive gazes of the crowd, Jiang Xiu moved. In that instant, his sword was as cold as water. In an instant, his silhouette appeared in front of Qin Wentian. With a flick of his palms, his sword was like a meteor shower, blotting out the entire sky, resplendent and resplendent. Sword like a meteor shower, Jiang Xiu has already cultivated the starpoint swordplay to such a high level. A single sword strike from him is more than enough to seal off all of Qin Wentian's escape routes, enveloping him in a rain of swords. No wonder he's one of the 10 prodigies of the royal capital. Expressions of admiration appeared on the faces of the spectators as they stared at Jiang Xiu's astral sword. The 10 prodigies of the royal capital weren't just because of their fame. Since they were able to climb up the rankings, it meant that they had proven themselves before. Qin Wentian didn't move. He calmly stood there, as though what appeared in front of him wasn't a life-reaping sword. His countenance was as calm as ever, and there wasn't even a single astral weapon in his hands. Such a scene caused many to feel surprised. Was this self-confidence, or was it arrogance? Killing intent flickered in Jiang Xiu's eyes. Since Qin Wentian was courting death, he was willing to grant Qin Wentian his wish. If Qin Wentian died on the stage of the Junlin banquet, even if the Emperor Star Academy wanted to protect Qin Wentian, they wouldn't be able to say anything. The Rain of Swords contained a terrifying killing intent as they shot towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian could naturally feel that Jiang Xiu's killing intent had been aroused. At this moment, Qin Wentian released his perception to the maximum as a mysterious energy permeated the air. This was the Grand Dream Astral Soul. A sword-type astral soul would allow the astral energy in his body to be infused with the sharpness of the sword. A lightning-type astral soul would be infused with the savagery of thunder and lightning. Naturally, the Grand Dream Astral Soul would also be infused with the domain of dreams. In that instant, Jiang Xiu felt as though he was drifting and unreal. It was as though the attack of his sword was somewhat illusory. However, Qin Wentian was different from him. This was a power that belonged to him. Releasing the Grand Dream Astral Soul, Qin Wentian was immersed in his own domain, allowing him to better perceive everything. At the same time, he could also sense the Rain of Swords. Every sword strike was bone-chilling cold, as though it wanted to reap away the lives of his enemies. However, Qin Wentian's perception was able to clearly see the trajectory of every sword strike. His body finally moved. His entire body seemed to transform into an illusory shadow, drifting erratically in the air. Not only that, every step he took wasn't too big, but it was extremely ingenious as he shuttled through the Rain of Swords. It was as though the swords couldn't even touch his body. As his spirit moved, his body moved. 9 Heavenly Garuda Movement Technique, Divine Movement Realm. The countenance of the elder from the Emperor Star Academy stiffened. This was the highest realm of the 9 Heavenly Garuda Movement Technique, the Divine Movement Realm that surpassed the Perfection Realm. Seems like this young man's comprehension ability towards innate techniques has always been overshadowed by his talent in other aspects. They silently mused in their hearts. This was an innate technique that almost no one could cultivate. Qin Wentian, who was at the 7th level of the arterial circulation realm, had actually cultivated the arterial circulation technique to the pinnacle. The Rain of Swords actually had no way to land a hit on his body. A movement technique that had stepped into the divine movement realm was simply too perfect. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that in this Junlin banquet, Qin Wentian's movement technique was unparalleled. Jiang Xiu's countenance changed as he abruptly changed his stance. His sword intent continued to rise. However, at the instant he changed his stance, Qin Wentian's body also moved. Stomping on the ground, astral energy flowed through his arterial circulation to his legs. In that instant, his silhouette instantly appeared in front of Jiang Xiu. That terrifying speed caused Jiang Xiu to feel as though everything was surreal. At this moment, Jiang Xiu made an extremely decisive and wise move. He abandoned his sword. His sword directly transformed into astral light as he slashed out with his right palm. The sharpness of his attack was akin to that of a sword. If it landed on Qin Wentian's body, it would definitely be able to split Qin Wentian's body into two. Slashing sword art. Although it isn't an extremely powerful innate technique, it's extremely useful in such a situation. Jiang Xiu's ability to adapt in a battle is extremely strong. Many in the crowd couldn't help but to praise. The spectators in the spectator stands were all people with vast knowledge and experience. Regarding innate techniques that weren't of a high level, they were all familiar with them and had even come into contact with them before. Unless it was a high-level innate technique or a secret manual from a sect or clan, it would be extremely difficult to come into contact with it. Bzzz. Qin Wentian had long prepared his falling mountain palms as he blasted out. The falling mountain palms were extremely sharp, and were suitable for combat at a certain distance. Under such a close combat situation, the killing power of the falling mountain palms would definitely be extremely terrifying. In that instant, it was as though a mountain peak had smashed down on Jiang Xiu. The sharpness of the sword was instantly destroyed. The might of the falling mountain palms executed by Qin Wentian was so strong that it caused Jiang Xiu to feel as though he was suffocating. How could a cultivator at the 7th level of arterial circulation be able to execute such a powerful falling mountain palms? Crushing everything in its path, destroying everything in its path. This made Jiang Xiu feel as though he was in a dream. Jiang Xiu retreated, and at the same time, he gathered a terrifying amount of energy. In that instant, boundless sword light converged together, transforming into a terrifying gigantic sword that slashed out towards the falling mountain palms. A thunderous sound rang out as the gigantic sword slammed into the descending falling mountain palms. The gigantic sword sliced through, but it was unable to break through. This caused Jiang Xiu's movements to falter for an instant. This instant was sufficient to determine everything. Qin Wentian waved his palms, and in that instant, a beam of sword light flashed past. Along with the sword light, a bloody glow appeared. My sword contains killing intent. I'll sever your sword-wielding arm. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, Jiang Xiu let out a blood-curdling scream as he retreated unceasingly. His left hand clutched onto his right arm as fresh blood flowed unceasingly, dripping onto the platform. One of his arms fell to the ground. Silence reigned in the air. My sword contains killing intent. I'll sever your sword-wielding arm. From today onwards, Jiang Xiu would no longer be part of the 10 prodigies of the royal capital. However, Qin Wentian wasn't proficient in sword arts. Where did the sword light come from? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.